They got, I mean, leave you out of shit, but you know, you the top dog here. So, all right. So how about like when you call somebody, like I called a potential client, and they were behind on they basically their property was going into foreclosure, and they the property there was the assets value at 800,000. You know what I mean? And they probably was about 80,000 behind in mortgage, and they still owed a couple 100,000 on their on I mean in payments, and they was still owed a couple thousand on the mortgage. So like I'm talking to the person, and they're like they want 800,000 for the property. Like I mean, how do I avoid like how do I decide like what to offer them if they have a listed price on their property, and they also have some distress signals?
So if they got some distress signals and they've got their number in their head, you still just offer what the property is worth to you, regardless of what they think it's worth. You still have to offer the number that you're willing to buy it for, and you have that conversation a lot of different ways. But the easiest way to say is, "Excellent. You know, how did you come to that number?" And let them give you their information, so you can build a little bit of a deeper relationship. It's great that they gave you their number first. That's actually easier, and then get a little bit more information before you just go in and say, "Hey, by the way, this is my number." You want to
Oh,
build that relationship so you
no,
don't
all
turn
right.
them off right away.
That's great. That's great for future people. But this dude, he just was like, "Yo, like it's 800 and that's it." You know what I mean? Like I don't know. Probably it was my approach that turned them off. You know what I mean? Like I could assume that, you know, being that I'm new to this, but that was my experience with that situation.
Yeah, absolutely. So most of them are anybody who says that they have a number right up front is looking to just see if you're in that ballpark or not. So in order to get on the phone and build a deeper relationship, ask them how they got to that number. Works every time because if somebody says, "Hey, I will only take an offer for $1 million," you ask them, "Okay, why? How did you come to that number? Where does that come from? You know, I'm really interested in learning about your evaluation. Maybe there's something I'm missing on the property."
Right, right, right. All right, that's definitely valuable advice. Thank you.
Awesome. You're very welcome. We're going to get started. Let's give Keely a round of applause. And about to record. 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to Multifamily Wholesaling Boot Camp. My name is Gualter Amarelo, and the goal for this training is to help you make more money and close more deals in 2021 and the years to come. Cheers to your success. By the way, hands to the camera if you want to make more money this year, if you're into it, if you're interested. Hands to the camera if you know wholesaling is a great way to earn more money. It is active income. It's a start. Also, hands to the camera if your goal is to become a real estate investor. Once you've wholesaled, got some capital, you're looking to be a landlord, do some flips maybe. Excellent. Excellent. So that is the absolute strategy for everybody. In fact, that's how most wholesalers got started. They wanted to become landlords. I actually started a little bit opposite. I wanted to become a landlord from the beginning, and I just went and I started buying real estate. But then eventually I had excess deals I couldn't do anything with. And so I was also an agent. I would list most of those. But occasionally I'd have my friends who said I would buy a deal under market that you don't want to buy. Has anybody ever been in a situation where they were at the store and there was something they just knew they didn't need, but somebody else they knew might have wanted it, but it was a great deal? So you just picked it up for them and then gave it to them later? Excellent. In wholesaling, the idea is the same, except you pick it up and you sell it for more to somebody else. So you get a contract under agreement for, we'll say 150, and you know that another buyer, another investor would probably pay 160 or 170 or 180. And the ARV, the after repair value, allows that because maybe they can sell for 350 on the market after $100,000 in renovations. You're doing them a service, you're doing the seller a service, and you're doing yourself a service, which is why you get paid a profit. Now, if you got that same contract under agreement for 180 and the investor's number is 180, we don't make money. Hands to the camera if you recognize that's true. It's got to be a deal for everybody. And as we were talking about earlier, if the seller has their number, but the profit number is down here, it may not work as a wholesaler, but it would work as an agent. An agent can put it on MLS and get more eyeballs on the property. Hands to the camera if you recognize agency does make sense. Yes. It is true. So my name's Gualter Amarelo. I call myself the real estate mentor because I buy real estate and I teach real estate. I've built businesses. I've been very successful in most of the things I've touched, and I've failed a couple times. Hands to the camera if you know failure is part of the process. It's inevitable. But don't give up from the failure. Use those failures as lessons. And so what we teach are a lot of the lessons we learned from mistakes we've made. And a lot of the things I teach are things I've learned from successes, things that have gone well. I own over $10 million worth of real estate today. We still wholesale stuff I don't want to buy. We still have a team of agents who go and list things for me, properties we bought, and then list. And then we also work with buyers who want to buy their first investment. Hands to the camera if you know you're a buyer. If you're looking to buy more real estate this year, multifamily or single family, hell yeah, give yourselves a round of applause, my investors. So if you're an investor who's looking to buy, put your requirements in the chat. I think it's very valuable and very helpful for somebody who's looking to be a buyer right now to put down what you're looking to buy. And if you're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or YouTube, you can drop your information there as well. Use your email address because this, again, is syndicated. It's all over the place. And I want to make sure that you're only getting contacted by people who are serious. Now, if you're a wholesaler and you work in this very specific market, drop down in the chat or on the social platforms which territory you're working in and the specific type of property your lists are. And one more ask, by the way, since we're helping people out, if you don't have a list and you haven't picked a market, have a conversation with Elizabeth Miller. She's got lists in her markets and our markets where we can actually handle the list. Same with Ken Hoffman, my boy. He's on the call. Let's give these guys a round of applause. You've got Kevin Pereira, Elizabeth Miller, and Ken Hoffman, who all have access to lists that they can deliver to you so that you can get started calling on our markets. Hands to camera if you know it's valuable to have a buyer in pocket already. Yeah, so why not just call their list? And the reason we give the list out, I'm too busy. I'm not going to call the list. I'm not going to make those phone calls. I'm already a millionaire. I'm already successful, but I'm still a buyer. I still want to buy. That's why we teach. So I want to teach you the process so you can go out, find the deals, sell them to us. When you do graduate to the point where you're buying deals, just shoot me a text. Ask us questions on how to finance those deals. Hands to camera if you know money is the reason you're not buying more property. It's always the money, right? Hell yeah. So every Friday, I talk about lending money out. And every Wednesday at 6 o'clock, we talk about how to buy real estate, cash flow, and get rich. So we talk about the creative financing on Wednesdays at 5 p.m., 6 p.m. 5 p.m. is for real estate agents. So if you want to learn how to work with investors, 6 p.m. is for buying real estate to cash flow and get rich. And then on Thursdays, Fridays at 5, I talk about Be the Bank, which is how to lend money. It's also a great way to learn how to raise private capital. Hands to the camera if you recognize all the money you want's in the hands of other people. That's true. It's crazy. So how did I get started? I got started being broke. I had no money. I had no knowledge. I had no resources. In fact, I wrote the book Broke to $250,000 because it was my journey. It was my process of how I got out of it. The point is not to work. It's to generate income. If you get that one process down, the point is not to work, it's to generate income. You'll be a step ahead of most people. See, most people think you got to work for money, but you don't. What you have to do is buy assets that will work for you. Hence the camp, if you recognize real estate is an asset. It's a hard asset that will do the work for you. The secret is you got to put your name on the deed. Names on deeds is how you get to that next level. Now I'm on a mission to build 100 millionaires. 100 millionaires who are inspired to build 100 millionaires. Put your hands to the camera if you know you want to be one of those. Somebody who's giving back to the community after you've gotten yours. Excellent. Give yourselves a round of applause because you've made it this far. You've made the commitment to be successful yourself. And then once you are successful, to give back. I appreciate everybody who takes on this mission. The first step is you've got to decide your market. Really hard to be a real estate investor without a local market. Real estate's really big. So you decide your market. And you decide your niche, right? Are you single families? Are you condos? Are you Airbnbs? Are you multifamily? Are you commercial? Are you doing the storage units? There's a lot of different niches out there, office space, right? So pick your niche and then decide to get rich. You've got to decide your number. I started with $1 million. I thought that was a really good place to start. Hands to the camera if that would be a really good goal for you. It'd be a nice starting point. Excellent. Shit, some of you are like, damn, like that's not the starting point. That's the end goal. That's all right. You got to start somewhere, though. Might as well aim for the stars, because if you fail, you will land among the moon. Hands to the camera if that's cool with you. Just set the goal a little high, and if you land over here, it's fine. You'll still be cool making 100,000 a year. That's all right. Excellent. So we've got one more announcement before I jump off to allow Elizabeth Miller to tell us who's coming in today to speak. And by the way, at 5 o'clock, we start with a little bit of training, a little motivation. By 5:30, we got a speaker on every single week. And at 6 o'clock, we start dialing. We make phone calls live so that you can get over the fear of making those calls. Kevin Pereira, Elizabeth Miller, and then volunteers. Anybody who wants to take their skills to the next level is welcome to volunteer and make the calls live on the call with us. Hands to the camera if you know accountability is important. And it's nice to watch other people do what they're doing. It's nice to watch people fail, learn from their mistakes, and it's nice to watch to see what works, learn from what's working. So coming up October 22nd to 28th, put this on your calendar. October 22nd to 28th, we've got the 100 Millionaires Summit. It's going to be me and the other 8 millionaires showing up to teach for 3 days straight. You'll be hanging out with us on Saturday. We'll be actually live doing networking in the room. You can one-on-one ask questions in group session or whatever. On day one, though, we're going to be talking about the principles that make you successful. We're going to talk a lot about mindset and finding deals, evaluating deals. On day 2 and 3, it's deep diving into your business, the structure, sales, how to move people forward, and eliminating some of the garbage that might be in the back of your head stopping you. They're called limiting beliefs. Hands to the camera if you know you'd be a millionaire if you knew how millionaires think. If you were thinking how a millionaire thought, you'd already have it, right? That's absolutely the truth. And fortunately, it can be learned. Ask me how I know. I started off broke, remember? I wasn't thinking the right way. I adjusted my thinking by surrounding myself with successful people, following their steps, following the way they thought, and looking at the world a completely different way. Hands to the camera if you know that the way you see the world is not how you've always seen it. You've seen it differently over the years. Well, to become a millionaire, it's just a couple more changes. And for some of you, it may just be one change. Our intention at this 100 Millionaires Summit in October is to make sure that you're connected with the right mindset and connected with the right network. Your network is your net worth. The people in the room at the 100 Millionaire Summit are the people who are going to be buying your deals. They're going to be the people funding your deals and people bringing you deals. Hands to the camera if you know that's a valuable place to be. It's in October and it's in Orlando. We got to get you out of your comfort zone, out of where you're living right now so that you can be successful, get you away from the kids, get you away from the family. And for anybody who does register, I will sign one of my books in person. So make sure you bring the book. And if you don't, I'll probably have some copies there. Hands to the camera if that's a cool value. It's cool. Some of the other people who are going to be there, the celebrities, our celebrity coaches all have their books. They will be signing books as well. So some of you may be bringing stacks with us. If you don't have the books, we'll sell them live at a discount, I'm sure, because, hey, we get selfies. That's all promotion for us. Hands to the camera if you know you'd write a review for us if you thought the book was valuable and helpful. Awesome. Let's give yourselves a round of applause. Dorita, have I forgotten anything? Is there anything that I should share? Any benefits? Nice things.
I think you covered all. And just remember, when you buy a ticket, you get one free. So you always want to think about your partner, your friend, family, because you are going to get basically 2 tickets for a price of 1. And of course, if you're part of our mentorship, you come for free. And I encourage you to book a hotel where we are staying, because we're definitely going to have late night networking event, including Sunday night hot tub business plan. So that's coming.
Let's give Doreen a round of applause. She keeps me on track. Yeah, the hot tub business plan is cool. That's going to be a blast. I'm going to put the link in the chat. It's ibuildmillionaires.com/summit. And this is for those of you who've decided to become a millionaire. Show up. You don't have to be a millionaire to show up. Right? The first event I went to was called Secrets of the Millionaire Mind. I really thought everybody in there was a millionaire, and I thought I snuck in. Hands can if you recognize how I could have made that mistake. They were all suited up. They were all like looking fancy. And I was like, oh shit, like I'm the broke kid who snuck into the millionaire event. Truth was, I was right there with everybody else in the same mindset. They just dressed better than I did. Hands to the camera if you recognize that happens sometimes. So I've been to the event a number of times. It changed my life. I went from making 17,000 that year to 100,000. Then I made $250,000 the next year, made $500,000 the year after, made 1.5 million last year. And I'm on track to make 2.5 million this year. Why do I say that? I say it because it's possible for you, right? Like, just know, like, it won't happen overnight. It won't. I'm telling you it won't. But it could happen over 3 to 5 years with dedication, with the right books, the right people, the right network, and a commitment more powerful than your commitment to staying the same. Just being willing to let go of the limiting beliefs, taking the action steps. You're going to learn a lot tonight about taking action steps. You're going to watch other people taking action steps. By the way, hands to the camera if it makes sense to watch other people be successful. Makes you more comfortable with the process. So listen as they're cold calling. And then my suggestion is get on the phone cold calling. If you don't have a list already to call, that's okay. Reach out to one of our team leaders and ask them for a list. We will provide that to you in hopes that you'll send us a deal. Hands to the camera if that makes sense, right? Give to get. We're just working with each other. I love to pay wholesalers. Most of the deals I've bought over the last 2 years have been from wholesalers. I love paying the fee. I love paying brokers their realtor fees. They sell my house for me or they bring me a deal. I love paying commissions. Hands to the camera if you know it, I'm making way more money if I'm paying you something. Awesome. Give yourselves a round of applause for being super intelligent. One more time, I want to give Elizabeth Miller and Kevin Pereira a round of applause for being so great at volunteering and helping every single week. Elizabeth Miller, you're up.
Well, I can't take the credit for this guest, so I'm going to hand it over to Kevin Pereira.
Everybody, what's good? How we doing? Another Monday. I wanna thank you guys again for hanging out and showing up. Right. I invited Matt. We all invited Matt. Matt, I'm sorry, I don't want to jack up your last name, so we're gonna keep it just Matt. But
Porcaro. It's like tomato.
Sounds good.
So no wrong way.
So one thing that stands true, right, with all the events and all the so-called education gurus and all of that fun stuff, right? I believe that your network is your net worth. One thing stands true. And also action is definitely something that needs to be taken. And how I met Matt was very early on. And it's something that I'm continuously striving for is literally just continuously building that network. And what allows me to kind of keep myself in that mindset and that frame of mind is literally control of my social media, control of what I'm putting in my mind, right? From books to podcasts. But again, social media is really a kind of can be a time sucker sometimes with me. So as long as I can control it, with my news feed and continuously with goals and with people that are, like-minded, doing the same things, is what I want to follow, is what I want to see on a daily basis. And Matt has been that for me for quite a while. Matt created a amazing platform for the 203K loan and awesome strategies. Matt's got his group as well, where it's so crazy, man. People will be like, hey, where do I get this 203K lender from Philly? Hey, where do I get this, this HUD guy from New York? And you can just, it's unbelievable, man, what he actually provides as well. And I really feel like Matt definitely, portrayed, like, what I mean? He feeds us, right? Like he's definitely someone that we can look to and hopefully gravitate towards, because again, he's definitely put in the work, put in the time to literally get these 203K strategies going. So Matt, without further ado, man, thank you again. I appreciate you taking the time, and hopefully you guys get some value out of this today.
Yeah, man. Kevin, thanks for inviting me on. Gualter, thanks for having me on as well. I don't know if there was anything you wanted to include or you want me just to jump right into it.
Yeah, just Kevin, freestyle, man. Yeah.
This is Kevin's guest. Let's give Kevin a round of applause. And Matt Porcaro, bring the heat, brother. We love 203K loans. They make a lot of sense for investors who are looking to get those renovations done. So let's give Matt Porcaro a round of applause, and it's all yours, my friend. Take it away.
Cool. What's up, guys? My name is Matt Porcaro. I'm from New York, as you can see behind me. Well, it's an ugly, crappy, rainy day we've been having in the Northeast, actually the whole whole week. But New York City is behind me. But born and raised in New York. Obviously, some of you may be here. New York is not an easy market to compete in. So, a couple of years back, I really wanted to get into real estate, right? Like a lot of people read Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Who here's read Rich Dad, Poor Dad? I hope it's every single one of you. And if you haven't, go to Amazon, buy that book. For a kid like me that grew up in a working class family, my dad had his own business, struggled a lot. We saw a lot of financial hardship growing up. We weren't poor by any means. But finances were always really, really hectic in my life, right? Growing up, like it was very known when money was an issue in our house. It was the topic of every fight between my parents. It was the topic of it was my dad wore it on his face. And when you're a young kid, it really affects you, right? And so growing up, I knew that I wanted to find a different way, right? I didn't want to struggle for money like my parents did, seeing how my parents, they wore it on their faces and really struggled as long as they did. It really weighed on me. So, I tried to do the right thing, went to college, went to 4-year school, got a degree in electrical engineering. And, I got out into the working world thinking I'm doing it right. Right. My parents told me, go get a job, go get a paycheck 24/7, or 52 weeks a year, get that paycheck. Cause we don't have that. We don't have a consistent income. We're always fighting for our money. So I grew up in the world where like entrepreneurs and business owners, I thought that was the wrong way. Right. So growing, I go try to do it the right way, get to college, get a job right out of school. I picked engineering. I knew it was I looked at the highest paying jobs. And I was like so money focused, and I'm like, engineers get paid a lot of money out of school. And I went for it. I wasn't even that great at math, but I went for it. And luckily I made it through. But I was about probably 2 months into working my 9-to-5 job, and realized very quickly that this isn't it either. It was like, I had no freedom. I felt like I was being told what to do. I felt like I was back in school again. You know what I mean? And one really crazy eye-opening thing for me was the one thing that I was taught with my dad with working is what you put in is what you get out. And working in a 9-to-5 company, in a corporate structure, it was funny. Like I wasn't done with what I had to do by 5 o'clock, but I'd go ask my boss. I'm like, oh, okay, when do you need a spot? He's like, oh, when you need to. And I'm surrounded by people that just were kind of clocking in, clocking out, doing the bare minimum. And I realized that if I worked harder than the guy next to me, I really wasn't going to get any benefit for it, right? They say you could climb the glass, the corporate ladder, but there's always glass ceilings out there, right? So to fast forward a little bit, I very quickly started like Googling more ways to make money. I traded penny stocks. I traded options. I did online businesses. I did email marketing. I tried them all, guys. I failed at damn near everything. I'm as gullible as they come. But it's kind of what got me to real estate, but I tried everything and failed miserably at all of it. Right. I lost a lot of money trying a bunch of different things, but I just knew that I wanted to do something, maybe not to replace my income, but at least supplement my income. So sure enough, I found Rich Dad, Poor Dad through all of this, read that book. And, what was funny about it was I got done reading the book thinking like, okay, yeah, real estate's great, but like, my parents can barely afford their own house. Like, yeah, real estate's just for like rich old people, right? Like I never thought I could buy my own house, let alone multiple houses. Right. I mean, who here felt that way? Who here thought that like, it was just too hard to get your own house? Does anyone feel that way? Like that they felt like they were going to rent forever. I mean, and that was kind of the hard thing for me, again, seeing my parents struggle with their mortgage, getting bill collectors banging on the door. So I didn't really understand too much about it, and real estate and everything, but I just pushed forward, and lo and behold, I started learning a little bit more about real estate and found wholesaling. Now I know a lot of you guys here are in the wholesaling game, and I'll be honest, in my market, I tried wholesaling. And it was very difficult for me being a young kid, not having much of a wholesaling budget, not having the right mentors behind me was huge. I bought into a lot of crappy, shady courses from gurus. And, they made it look so easy, so easy. And I started trying to grind it and I just couldn't cut it. It probably didn't help that I was working 12 hours a day, 6 days a week. So the little bit of time I had, I'd wake up morning, go early in the morning, go put up bandit signs, and you get burnt down on that very quick. And I struggled with that. So fast forward again a little bit. And this is all going to come together, I promise you guys. So I appreciate everybody hanging on with me with my story. So fast forward a little bit, I thought, okay, maybe if I go to my local RIA, right? Everybody knows what a RIA is, the Real Estate Investment Association. Usually it's in your market. Yep. So I went to my local RIA. So I'm now like, all right, Matt, I always told myself the false belief that New York's too competitive to get a deal. I know that's not the case now, but I used that false belief. My market's too hot. How many people think their market's too hot? Who's ever used that as a justification that they can't get a deal? Okay, everybody says it, but the reality is it's not true. Deals are being done in every single market. So I told myself the same thing, guys. And so I went to the RIA and I thought that they had some secrets, right? Maybe they understand the New York market, right? Maybe they have the secrets to the New York market. And I went in and I bought another mentorship with the owner of the real estate group. And she's a great lady, really knows her stuff. She's like a super mom, has like 8 kids, has like 200 doors, flips 100 houses a year, just like one of those all-star people, right? And I brought into her mentorship, and sure enough, I'm learning all this stuff that I was learning in all the books, the videos, the courses that I already taken. And I'm like, what the hell? Like, how do I crack this? And sure enough, I pulled her to the side one day. I'm like, listen, her name was Melissa. I said, listen, Melissa, like, I've been trying this for a year. It was probably like 2 or 3 years at this point, guys. And I was like, I've been trying this for years. Like, how the hell do I break into this game? Like, I've tried wholesaling. I tried door knock. I've tried anything. I just can't crack it. I got a couple grand saved up in the bank. I got a decent job. What would you do if you could do this all over again? And she turned to me and she said, listen, I haven't done it, but if I would do this again, I would go out and get something called a 203K loan. The 203K loan is an FHA loan. So you only need to put 3.5% down. She said, I would do a live-in flip. I would look for the crappiest house you can find, do a live-in flip. So it's an owner-occupied loan. It lets you wrap in the renovation cost into the loan. So you don't pay any renovation costs out of pocket. And all your money out of pocket is 3.5% down plus closing costs. But we talk about how to get rid of those, right, with this loan. So I'm like, oh, wow, she's like, and then you know what you do? You just live in the basement, rent out the upstairs, pay off the mortgage and have someone pay off the mortgage, and then go and repeat the process. Use the equity that you build from that deal, take out a home equity line of credit, take out a cash out refinance and go buy another one. So my hand was like exploded. I've never heard of the 203K loan before. Who here's heard of the 203K loan before? Just raise your hand. Okay, so this is good. So I'm around. People know about it. At the time, I did not, and generally speaking, it's really not discussed a lot, or there's a lot of misinformation about it. So lo and behold, I did go home that night. I'm super jacked up. I go home. I like hit Google, and I just 203K loans, blah blah blah, and there was just no information about it. Like nothing justifiable, and certainly nothing about it looking through it through the eyes of an investor, right? So again, fast forward, I was waiting around for a while. I wasn't really doing anything. I was just kind of saving up my money. And I called one of my loan officer friends and I was like, hey, it was out of the blue call. I was like literally driving with my Starbucks. I just thought about it, random moment. I said, hey, maybe this guy knows something about these 203K loans. Maybe Melissa knew what the hell she was talking about, right? So I get on the phone with him and I call him. I'm like, hey, man, do you know about 203K loans? He's like, yeah, man, like totally, dude. Let's go. Let's get you signed up. Let's get you a 203K loan. This will be the best thing for you, man. Let's do it. And he was a family friend. And I think if he wasn't, I probably would have never went through with it, but I figured I trusted him. So before I knew it, by the time I got back to my cubicle at my desk at my job, he had my social, he had my 2 years tax returns, he had my pay stubs. And before I knew it, I was pre-approved. So what ended up happening now was he's like, hey man, listen, here's a bunch of list of, different houses and, different things you can buy. And he started sending me like foreclosure websites and like wholesaler guys. And I'm like, wow, I thought, but this is financing. You can't use bank financing on an as-is deal. You can't use it on a foreclosure. He said, no, you can. One of the beauties of the 203K loan is it allows you to buy the ugliest, crappiest houses and still finance them using low interest rates, low down payment. right? So it allows you to do a fix and flip without having to foot the huge cost of if you used hard money or private money or something like that, right? So I was already blown away. And sure enough, I started my search. So I looked for many different properties. I was looking all over the place. And lo and behold, I was finding out that even with my income, which I was making a decent amount of money in New York, the numbers are hard, right? New York taxes are absolutely astronomical. Most houses, it's anywhere from 10 to 15,000 a year, right? Just for taxes. So that right there is a mortgage payment in and of itself in many parts of the country. Plus you have to add on the mortgage payment, right? So I really wasn't being approved for any of it. But what ended up happening was I ended up by accident finding out about house hacking. Who here's heard of house hacking before? Okay. So one of the beautiful things about the FHA loan and the 203K loan as well is that these loans allow you to purchase up to 4 units. Okay. Now, what's even better than that is with up to 4 units, you're able to forecast those other 3 units. If you buy a 4-unit property and you live in one, you can forecast the other rental, they take a portion of it. Like I think it's nowadays, it's like 50% of the proceeds and they add that to your debt to income. So now I was a guy that couldn't afford shit on Long Island, period. I couldn't afford anything. Right. But when I found out that I found a property that was a 2-family, it was a legal 2-family. It was in a really weird part of town, not the nicest, literal crack house. I mean, it was the ugliest house on Long Island, I'm telling you right now, but it was the only thing that was a 2-family. No one was touching it with a 10-foot pole. But for me, it was like the only thing that I was able to qualify for. So I walk in and there's literally crap all over the floors. I mean, there's pee everywhere. There's like, everything, all the windows are blown out. I mean, this is like nightmares are made out of in this house. Right. So what ended up happening was I was trying to get the loan, and luckily my loan officer knew. He was like, hey man, you can qualify for this because you're able to forecast the future income in the other unit. And it gave me just enough to get the loan amount. Now, what I ended up doing was paying $270,000 for the property. All right. This was back in 2016. Obviously costs have gone up a little bit since then, so don't shoot me for that. But, mind you, if you saw pictures of this property, this thing was literally the ugliest, worst house on Long Island. People would say it was a knockdown, but it wasn't. What ended up being is that we put about $100,000 into it. It was probably 80,000 in the loan and then another 20 in odds and ends over the year. But I basically effectively was all in, and I had a loan amount for $350,000 when I was done. Okay. So here's the kicker, guys. What I ended up doing was when I looked at this deal, I said, hey, I can use this 203K loan, an owner occupied loan, right? The idea was that I was going to live there for a little while. The rule is you need to live there for 12 months after the closing date, right? That's what you say. Okay. After that, the FHA, they have no, statute of limitations for that. So you can leave. So I knew I was going to occupy the property briefly. And then I knew the eventual move was to move out and repeat the process, go do something else. Right. So I looked at it that way. And then I was also, looking at building equity, right? So I wanted to make sure that the money I was putting into the deal was going to be worth it when I was done. So I ended up doing some, comps and everything in the area. And it looked like I would roughly get like anywhere from like 425 to 450 for the property when I was done. So I was looking at $100,000 worth of equity, right? And with ultimately the smallest amount out of pocket. What ended up happening, guys, was I was able to only put $9,500 down. That was what I put down initially. What ended up happening was closing costs were hard for me. Closing costs are a ton of money, right? You find out about that later. But what ended up happening was they told me that I can have the seller pick up to 6% of the closing costs. So not only was I able to get the deal, so I came up to their number, but I asked for them for a concession. So they give me 6% back. So I actually made money at closing. So I effectively put down less than 3.5%, only $9,500 out of pocket. 8 months later, I'll save you the renovation part. But one of the great things about the 203K loan is there's someone on board called the 203K consultant. Basically, it allows you to do a fix and flip with training wheels on. These HUD consultants are there to make sure that the contractor that's on the job is doing the work appropriately, that you're getting what you're paying for, and the bank knows that they're getting what they're paying for and paying you out that money. Okay. Lo and behold, guys, when I was all done with it, I basically, I basically, stood in the room. I had just heard back from my appraisal, because I got it reappraised, and it reappraised for $480,000 when I was done. So lo and behold, in 8 months' time, I turned $9,500 into $130,000. Now, that's not including the passive income that I get from the property every year, right? So what ended up happening is, very shortly after, just about a year after I had gotten engaged, moved in with my wife, rented out both units. I get $2,500 a month now for those units, and it's about $3,000 each month all in. So I get $2,000 a month monthly cash flow. Now, this is just for my first property. This is from the 203K property. Now, I mean, guys, what would $130,000 do for you guys? I mean, if you could use that to another deal, what would you guys do next? Would you go buy more deals? Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's exactly what I did. So what I was able to do was I built all that equity into that property. Okay, guys, and using home equity lines of credit, using a combination of that, hard money, cash out refinance, whatever you want to do, right? You're able to leverage this money and then go buy another one, right? And that's exactly what I did. And ultimately, my game is flipping. I do like construction. I grew up in the business. I understand the business, and construction is my forte. So we went the flipping route. My dad's getting older. As I shared with you guys, money was never his thing. So he's at retirement age, and we're flipping houses together, and it's building his nest egg. And now I'm helping my dad, right? With that. But really, the point I want to try to make to you guys and tell you with this story is, the 203K loan is wildly, wildly powerful if you use it correctly, right? The whole point of it is you're putting such a low amount of money down, right? And getting such huge returns. And it's justified off of one thing, which is the live and flip strategy. Who's heard of the live and flip strategy? Have you guys heard of the live and flip strategy, where you buy a house, you live in it? So here's the thing, guys, when you're starting out, okay, now this is like, I wouldn't do this if you have 10 doors under your belt or 20 doors under your belt. The downsides of the 203K loan is they're slow, right? It's an FHA loan. It has extra guidelines. It has extra red tape. But what ended up happening was, after I had done this loan and done it so successfully, I was a big member on Bigger Pockets, everything like that. I started to realize that I was the only person talking about this freaking 203K loan. And it became very obvious to me that, number one, there was a ton of misinformation about it out there. Number two, the information that was out there wasn't really helpful for people like looking at it through the eyes of an investor and really looking to start their real estate investing career like I did, right? So lo and behold, I created my community called the 203K Way. My idea of that name was that this is the way that I got into real estate investing, right? The 203K way. Some people get in the wholesaling way. Some people get in the buy and hold route, the BRRRR way. I use the 203K way, and using my strategy, the way I leveraged all those different things, right? I effectively leveraged the live and flip strategy. I leveraged house hacking, right? Okay. And I also leveraged the BRRRR method. Obviously, I'm sure everybody here's heard the BRRRR method, right? What I did exactly that. I bought the property, I renovated it, I rented it out, and I refinanced, got out of the 203K loan, got rid of my PMI that's on the loan, right? For putting a low down payment and getting a lower interest rate. And now I cash flow the property, right? So guys, I mean, I covered a lot of it, and really, that's the whole strategy and the way that I do it. Obviously, as Kevin said, I'm really big on Instagram. What ended up happening, guys, was so many people were asking me how the hell to do this. And I was realizing that there was a need there. And as it stays, there's still not enough information out there about it. I really tell people it's real estate's best kept secret. It's flipping a house with training wheels on. And when you're just starting out, using owner occupied loans to build equity very quickly is, in my opinion, one of the best ways to get started. Now, for you guys, obviously this is a wholesaling group. I mean, talk about absolutely blowing it out of the water. Now, I had to deal with a freaking bank, bank foreclosure. Banks are like scary men in the sky dressed in suits that they intimidate you every step of the way. There's people in my group that are wholesalers, got these deals, and in contract, worked with the seller. The seller was okay with financing. They didn't care that it would take, 2 or 3 months to close. They were cool with financing. Bought the property as is with the 203K loan at 50 cents on the dollar and are making 30% equity on the deal with no money out of pocket, right? Like, I mean, generally nothing, you know what I mean? So, you're just able to do such amazing things with this, guys. And even in this market, right? Foreclosures dried up. I'll be honest, guys, completely honest. Foreclosures were my bread and butter. That was my flipping business. Last year, I got scared. I didn't know what to do because foreclosures completely dried up. And that was my bread and butter. I didn't know what to do. And I honestly, like, I was afraid to go back to wholesaling because wholesaling to me was like really scary. And I failed at it and I didn't want to go back to it. But what ended up happening was I realized that I could either just, use this as an excuse or go make a change. And I started going back into my wholesaling roots, started freaking driving for dollars, pounding pavement. And lo and behold, I started getting calls up and I have a bunch of deals coming through. As you guys see behind me, I got a bunch of kitty stuff. I just had my son, Luca, 2 months ago. And me and my wife, we live in a beautiful high rise right outside of Manhattan. And this was our dream for years. But as it works out, Manhattan's not really conducive to a newborn baby, especially in a 1-bedroom. So he's spilling out everywhere. So I'm looking for my own property. How am I doing it, guys? I'm doing it the 203K way. I practice what I preach. But what I'm doing now is I've leveraged off market. And now what I do for myself is I contact the seller. How about this, guys? I contact the seller. I cold call him. I'm say, hey, this is completely out of the blue. I know it's kind of weird, but my wife and I are looking to move back to Massapequa. We grew up there. Do you have any interest in ever selling your house? We just had a baby. We just want to see, we're pushing, but, dialing numbers, seeing if anyone in the area was willing to sell. And I'm getting leads like crazy, getting 10% response rates. And the reason being, and the reason being is you're angling from, okay, you're not just an investor, right? You're using, me and my wife are moving into the property, right? You're pulling heartstrings. Guys, you don't have to have a baby. You don't have to have a partner, whatever. You could just say me and my family. I'm looking to move into the area. I'm looking to, I love the town, right? So a lot of people in my group are doing this and they're all doing this despite this crazy market that we're in. Right. And one last thing I'll throw in is a lot of people say that FHA loan is a dirty word in this market, right? If anybody's a realtor here, FHA, if you say FHA, they're like, ugh, we don't deal with FHA. Oh, we won't even look at an FHA loan. Why? Because FHA loans require you, the standard FHA loan requires you to have an inspection, and any items that come up bad on the inspection need to be addressed before closing. Why is a seller going to deal with that when they can just sell to a conventional buyer and not have any issues? The second thing is, what's the common thing that's happening with all these MLS deals, guys? What are they doing? Multiple offers, right? Going 100,000 over asking, right? Bidding wars, exactly. So what are happening? A lot of these big money bag buyers are footing the difference, right? Now, usually an FHA loan buyer only has a small down payment. That's why they're picking FHA. They only have 3.5% down, right? But that's on the FHA side. Now, those are the two most important things. Those are the two most important reasons why people hate FHA. Those get completely neglected by the 203K loan, right? Because number one, you're renovating and doing the loan. 203K loan allows you to get a loan amount at 110% of the after repaired value of the property. So say you pick up a property for 200K, it's worth 300K when you're done. They'll give you a loan of, 320 or whatever it is, right? Of the amount. That's crazy. Nowhere else does that happen. That hasn't happened since 2008, but they know that you're putting all this work into the property. They know you're doing all this thing, that you're going to be at the top of the market when you're done. They allow that to happen, right? So you don't have to worry about appraisals and you don't have to worry about inspection contingencies. All my students, all the guys that I work with and gals that I work with, they put no inspection contingency on the offer. I mean, that would change the game for a lot of people. Right? You put no inspection contingency, you win, right? So more than ever, it's been really successful for everybody. And I've been lucky enough to just resonate with a lot of people who are looking to get their first deal. And, I have a bunch of people that are buying multifamilies. Some people are just doing live-in flips. Some people just want to buy their house and just make it their own, right? And they're just looking for a fixer upper because the cost of a top end home right now is just way too expensive. So they're willing to just put in the elbow grease and just wrap all those costs into the loan, right? I mean, that's the best thing, right? Interest rates are rock bottom. Why come out of pocket when you could finance your kitchen renovation over a 30-year loan at 3%, right? So Kevin, I hope I'm not running on too much. I don't know if there's any questions or anything, and I hope I covered everything without going too crazy. But
awesome, Matt, dude. As usual, right? Ridiculous value, and I appreciate you coming on. So we usually, we'll leave a few minutes if you don't mind. If you got a few minutes, we can open up to some questions and stuff.
Yeah,
I know I got
a
couple.
Yeah, for sure.
I know I got a couple. I don't know if anyone else does. If you guys do, let's fire away. And then we usually start calling or roughly about 6:15 or so. You know what I mean? The latest we try to get on the phones is like no later than 6:30 by this time. So we can get at least a good hour and something on the phones.
Sure.
Kind of get that live action to the community.
Yeah, and I just put my Instagram handle and my website in the description.
Awesome.
in the chat. We also have a Facebook group. And Kevin, you're a member in that. Yeah, like I said, the Facebook group is just, guys. When I started this, I just, I told you, I literally remember standing in the middle of my duplex. The paint's done. I had the C of O. I got the inspection. I looked around. I was emotional. I almost cried. I'm like, how the hell did this take me 4 years? And more importantly, how the fuck does nobody know about this? Why did it take me so long to find out about the 203K and how powerful it was? So from that moment, I knew that I had a responsibility to tell more people. And luckily I've been blessed enough to be given this platform and people have been seeing value in it. And, Kevin attests to it, guys. I don't leave anything I don't leave any secrets. You guys know everything. I post everything I know about this game. And there's nothing behind it. So, if you guys want to join in, learn more, but we'll answer some questions now for sure as well.
Awesome. So if anybody's got any questions, go ahead, or else, I can fire away, but either way, if you guys have any questions, either in the chat or you guys can unmute.
No, I would love to hear any questions. I was just looking in the chat too. See if anyone had anything.
So, Matt, right, like some of the big misconceptions, right, I'm sure is obviously, there's a bunch of paperwork, right? I got to go through a bunch of paperwork. And then again, it's the GC thing, right? I gotta try and find a contractor that's willing to, right? I know we run into those hurdles all the time. It's either a hurdle with the realtor first, right? FHA buyer, FHA lender, and then from there's number 3 hurdle. Hey, now I got to get a 203K contractor. So there are some complex kind of ways to battle that. I know for me, it's a lot more mindset, but again, you know it better than I do. So a couple of ways that we could handle those 3 hurdles, if that's cool.
Sure. So when I got into this, right, and I told you about EJ. EJ was the loan officer that I called. He's fast talking New York guy, Guido. He's like, yo, man, we're going to get you in. It's going to be the best deal of your life, blah, blah, blah. Sign the paperwork. Boom, 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 boom. I found out very quickly that he had never done one of these things before. He had never done one. He just knew about it. And luckily he had the pig-headed determination and he went for it. I realized very quickly that they had no idea what the fuck they were doing. I don't know if I'm allowed to curse.
No, you're allowed. You're okay. We're good.
I'm sorry. Yeah. I'm from New York. Sorry, guys. So anyway, they didn't know what the fuck they were doing at all. And honestly, I had panic attacks during this whole process. And this isn't to scare anyone away. Real estate's freaking hard, guys. If when you're closing a deal, you're going to have a lot of tests on your patience, tests on your persistence, tests you'll feel like you're getting gaslighted by these lenders. So what ended up happening was, lo and behold, this thing got done, right? It was kind of one of those things where once the train was rolling, it was rolling and there was no end in sight. But I got to the finish line and we made it happen. One of the great things about me not fully knowing about the 203K loan is who suffers from analysis paralysis in here? Everyone. Everyone does. You don't even have to tell me you don't, because if you don't, you're
not analyzing enough deals.
You know what
you're
I
not
mean?
taking enough
Exactly.
action.
Right. Everybody gets analysis paralysis these days. One of the saving graces with me about the 203K and not knowing anything about it was like there was no information, so I didn't know what was next. The only thing that I could deal with was what was in front of me, right? So it taught me to learn on my feet. So and the point I'm trying to make with this, Kevin, is what ended up happening was I found out the hard way on what the most important things are for a 203K loan. I go into the school of hard knocks of 203Ks and came out an expert. And the reason being was, I was just learning through the process and being exposed to all these professionals in the game that I didn't know existed. 3 main things on your 203K team. If there's one thing that anybody interested in doing a 203K loan, if you get these 3 right, you'll never have to worry about the loan. And number 1 is the most important. Number 1, you need a 203K experienced lender. There are guys out there that do these things day in, day out. This is their niche. 99% of mortgage officers are going to tell you not to do them. They're too complicated, blah, blah, blah. The only reason is at the end of intelligence becomes ignorance, right, guys? At the end of intelligence is ignorance, right? So when people stop knowing something, they start talking shit about it. That's everything, right? People that talk the most shit about you are people that know nothing about you, right? So it's the same thing with loans, right? Like they don't know about loans, so they talk shit about it. There's guys out there and gals out there that do these. This is their niche, right? Best way to find them, Google 203K endorsement summary, okay? Quick tip, Google 203K endorsement summary. First link that comes up is called the HUD website. It gives you a list of every lender that does 203Ks in your market every month. Okay. So you scroll down to the bottom, you'll see there's a month and year. You get the most recent month and year. You get this month or last month's report. They'll tell you every major metropolitan area, and they'll tell you what loan companies were doing the most 203Ks in your market. You get them on the phone, you call the district, you say, hey, who's the head of, who leads up renovation lending in your market, or right? Second guy on your team, the 203K consultant. Okay. 203K consultants are generally home inspectors, and they add this 203K HUD consultant thing on their arsenal. The HUD consultant is there. They're basically like a referee for the 203K loan. They're the referee making sure that the borrower, you, most importantly, the bank and the contractor are doing what they're supposed to do and getting paid for what they're supposed to do. And protecting everybody, right? Their job is to monitor, watch the process. And who knows more than them who the best lenders in the market are for 203K loans? And to your point, Kevin, who are the GCs in the market that are doing 203Ks, right? Here's the thing, guys. GCs, general contractors, everyone loves to rip on contractors. Contractors are no different than any other profession. Guys, it's hard to find good anything. It's hard to find good realtors. It's hard to find good loan officers. It's hard to find a good doctor. It's hard to find good anything. Contractors, it's just a lower barrier of entry. And the reality is everybody gets allured by the cheap price. Here's the thing. Contractors, you need to get the most expensive contractor you can afford, period. You're going to see the cheap price. You're going to want to do it. Oh, I'll make an extra 20 grand equity, an extra 10 grand equity. The reno's the reno. Right? There's nothing you can do to cut costs on the reno. If the guy's 40K under on his renovation estimate, it's because he missed $40,000 worth of scope. It's not an anomaly. He's not just magically working for cheaper, right? So, but here's the thing, guys. A lot of these 203K contractors. Now, listen, there's no such thing as a 203K certified contractor. You look that up online, you'll see there's a website called 203kcontractors.com. It's a certification, but it's not. It's just a realtor that created the program, and he tries to like get contractors to sign up for it and whatever. But that you don't need a 203K contractor. All they need to be is licensed and insured and bonded, right? And they need to be legitimate, right? You can't get the guy that pulls up in the jalopy and writes up the estimate on the back of a napkin. These guys have to be big outfits. They have multiple crews. Like I said, you want the good professional outfit. And the best ways to find those is you can ask the lender. Now, here's the thing. It's red flag if the lender or the consultant says, yeah, you got to use this guy. This is the best guy for the job. That's a conflict of interest. You can't do that. But there is absolutely nothing wrong with going to the lender and going to the 203K consultant and say, hey, Mr. 203K consultant, hey, Mr. Lender, I want to find a 203K contractor that's done these before. Can you please give me a list of contractors that have successfully completed 203K loans in my market? And they'll give you a list because they want a guy that knows what they're doing too. Okay. And that's the thing, guys. Talent surrounds themselves with talent. Okay. So if you get a good consultant, they're going to know good lenders. They're going to know good contractors. If you get a shitty contractor, shitty consultant, you're going to have shitty people. Right. So that if you get those 3 people right on your team, you could screw up every step of the way and still make it out good, right? If you analyze every deal as an investor would, right? You're not going to lose money on a 203K. You're just not. And I know that's a freaking bold statement to make, but especially in this market, man, you're not going to lose money.
I like it too. It's instant equity, right? It's automatically in the equity. But Matt, I wanted to another thing with you, right? Is the live and flip, right?
Yeah.
Give me a timeline, right, of what you would think, right? Like, say if I'm an active flipper, right? Where are we at? 3 to 6 months? 3 months if I'm lucky to finish a project. If I got my team all set up.
So as a flipper, I always say, this isn't to scare anyone.
Okay.
Whatever you think it's going to be, double it. And that goes with cost and that goes with time.
All right.
Okay?
So
I mean, and that's the reality. Guys, I've been in the construction business 15 years. I know this game. Okay.
Yep.
That's the reality.
And so
there's no one that's different. Listen, you're going to get some good projects, but this shit happens. If this stuff was easy, everyone would do it.
So right? I wanted to kind of put you in a scenario where let's compare the timeline for making a profit on a live and flip.
Yeah, sure. So
versus actively flipping. You know what I'm saying? Like how much of a difference you would think, you know what I mean, to kind of timeline that way. It's kind of because I like the live and flip model, but obviously it might take a little longer.
Here's the thing, man.
Like, I don't
like, people ask me how many times should I do a 203K. I'm like, once. I'm up to my second, but like I'm only doing it just because I'm doing it for my forever home, right? But the same rules are applying, right? I'm doing the same exact thing. So,
but then you're documenting it too, bro, which is awesome.
But here's the thing, right? Hard money lenders, I know this is back in 2016. Like now every hard money lender is willing to work with a deal on you. I mean, they'll kill you with rates, but generally speaking, a hard money lender wouldn't even touch you with a 20-foot pole if you hadn't flipped before. So I went from being the guy at the real estate investment meeting that was like, oh, I'm going to do this, the gonna guy, right? Like, oh, I'm going to do this. I'm going to buy a deal. And I'm surrounded with all these people that have actually done something, to the next time I walked into a RIA meeting. Yeah, I just flipped a duplex. I'm a landlord. I have I have 2 doors, right? All of a sudden, you're the most popular guy in the room with hard money lenders. Everyone wants to lend to you, right? So here's the thing, guys. Like, live and flip strategy is not like, it's up to your comfort level, right? People have families. It's not a realistic thing. But here's the thing. You only need 1 or 2 of them under your belt to build enough equity to never have to worry about money again or capital on your financing ever again.
Love it.
Honestly, since that first one. So timeline-wise, dude, like when all's said and done, after the closing, it's going to take 3 to 6 months to do that. Then you're going to look at your next financing options. You're going to do an appraisal. You're going to get a home equity line of credit. Yeah, about a year out. But the biggest problem with our generation, dude, is like we all want shit immediately.
Instant gratification.
I learned that the hard way, right? I told you guys when I started this call, like I started penny stocks, trading options. I lost so much money, all that money that I could have been putting into just equity, buying and holding shit. But when you're 20, you want fast money because you want to spend it fast, right? Like that's the reality, right? But a year of your life is not a long time. It is not a long time at all, especially if you're building hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of equity, right? So, for that process, I would say 6 to 12 months versus, on my fix and flips, we always forecast for about 6 months. That's closing to closing because you have to take into account that you're doing a loan, so it takes 45 to 60 days to close.
Right.
Versus if I use hard money, I'll close in. People say, "Oh yeah, I'll close in 5 days." No one closes in 5 days. It takes the average is usually like 3 to 4 weeks, like to close something.
And I see it too, like with I see it with the hard money guys, man. Their money, they're giving money away too, man. Like 90% of the deal, 100% rehab. You know what I mean? You go in there with 10%.
Yeah, but here's the so it's just like mortgage lenders, man. Like. It's just like mortgage lenders. They tell you, oh, we give you a 2.5% rate. It's an advertised promotional rate, but they don't tell you that the fine print is that you have to have an 850 credit score and you have to have had it for 10 straight years, right? Mm-hmm. And otherwise, you have to pay what everyone else pays. Guys, if you're using hard money, I'm telling you right now, you're not getting 90% a loan to value, especially in this market. Yeah, if you're locking something up at 40 cents on the dollar, it's asset-based lending, right? So they do 90% loan to cost, but at a 60 cent on the dollar valuation, right? So basically it's like, unless you get a deal locked up for like pennies on the dollar, like 40 cents on the dollar, they're gonna just max you out. And what you're gonna end up finding is like, yeah, well, you're gonna have to come in with more equity because you don't have enough meat on the deal, right? For them, obviously, it's a no-brainer. If you lock something up for super pennies on the dollar, yeah, they'll give you all the money in the world, because if you default on it, they got a sick deal left over, right? So I hope that clarifies that.
Awesome. No, unbelievable.
Yeah.
Anybody else, man? Fire away.
Don't be shy.
Yeah.
Definitely ask any questions in the chat or
Can you give us a little bit more clarity on timeline? You had mentioned something about yours took 4 years. Did I hear that correct?
No.
No. Okay.
So I tried and failed every real estate investing strategy for 4 years. Okay. I tried wholesaling. Now listen, I didn't do it consistently. Full disclosure. And looking back, I had deals, but here's where I fucked up. Where I fucked up was, again, a 25-year-old kid. I was focused on the dollars. I was focused on the money. Wholesaling is not about the money. Wholesaling is about finding sellers with a problem and healing that problem, a doctor-patient relationship. I found that out way later in life, okay? Not way later, 5 years later, 6 years later, after dealing with real estate. It's about being a people person. And I went to these houses, and instead of listening to these sellers, I was like, I can offer you this. This is the ARV. This is what I can do. And they'll be like, well, I can't do that. And I'll be like, well, why can't you do that? This house is a piece of shit. Like, I didn't get it, right? I didn't understand how to talk to people. No, 4 years of trying different strategies, trying wholesaling, trying seller financing, trying to get people to trying to find people to give a 25-year-old, all their hard-earned retirement money to go flip a house when I've never done it before, things like that, and not really finding anything. The 203K process for me, start to finish, took about 8 months, start to finish. That was from getting into contract to closing the deal and getting, and ending the renovation, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely not 4 years.
No, that's great. Because that's kind of how I got started too. So I'm just trying to remember back to all those details, but
yeah.
I'm more curious at, you had mentioned, a personal level of those renovations. So, getting started, what is a normal? I mean, could it be just as simple as replacing carpet and paint and that's, or is there kind of a level of expected renovations in this 203K loan process?
So great question, Elizabeth. So generally speaking, the limit on your renovations. So let's talk top end, right? Your limit is your FHA loan limit in your market, right? So FHA has loan limits. They only lend a certain amount of money in every market. So that is your purchase price plus the renovation cost. In New York, it's some astronomical number. It's like 1.2 million or something like that, right? So it varies by the area. So that's the first thing. Guys, the only prerequisite for a 203K renovation is that it needs to be an existing structure of some kind. It had to have been an existing structure of some kind. There needs to be a foundation. It does not work for new construction. You can't develop on top of land with it, but you can freaking damn near knock down a house and completely rebuild it from the ground up and it still qualify. The reality is that it just needs to work money-wise. It needs to work loan to value-wise. And it also really depends on what you get approved for based on your income and stuff like that. So at the top end, your limits are really what you can afford. And then also like what your FHA loan limits are in your market. But pretty much it covers everything. It doesn't cover luxury items. You can't put, a basketball court. You can't put, a Playboy Cove style pool in the backyard. Like it's got to be within reason. It's, within reason. And that's actually completely up to the lender, right? There's some things you can maybe get a hard sell, but like luxury items like grills, pools, saunas, basketball courts, whatever. Everything else is fair game. On the low end, right? So for a 203K full, they call them, which is like your standard 203K. Generally speaking, it's like a $35,000 minimum, because what's underneath that is something called the 203K limited. The 203K limited is a slight variation of the loan. It allows you to get away with a lot of the paperwork with the contractor, stuff like that. I've seen that people actually have a lot less success with it because you don't need a HUD consultant on the loan. And a lot of people think that that's a good thing when it's very much a bad thing, because the contractor gets 50% up front and 50% at the end. So I've heard a lot of horror stories, and this isn't to scare anyone off. I've also heard many stories of people doing limiteds, no problem, but limited is limited to $30,000 renovation budget, right? So if it only needs paint, carpet, or kitchen reno, whatever it could be, literally anything. That's just, again, not a luxury item. You can use it to, again, just, if you want to just buy a house and just, you hate the kitchen, or guys, like if there's something that you want to, there's a house you really want, but you realize that the FHA, you can't get approved for it. You get your loan officer to do a 203K, and then you are able to close and just fix whatever that issue was that the FHA standard wouldn't let you close on. So that's what that limited is for. Great question.
Awesome stuff. Anyone else?
Yeah.
Yes, I have a question. So I was on Clubhouse the other day, and I was in a group with a bunch of mortgage lenders.
Okay.
And they also mentioned that conventional has a kind of like a repair loan, a refurbished loan. Have you ever heard of that one, and have you utilized it before?
Yeah, so I'm actually doing that now. That's what I'm doing to my forever home with. Again, trying to give Luca a little more room. So I'm going to use a home style probably. So here's the rule of thumb. So yes, it's called the home style loan. It's a Fannie Mae loan. It's considered conventional, right? So it's a home style loan. Home style is actually 3% down if you're a first-time home buyer, right? So it's actually a half a point less. But here's the difference. Here's the main difference with the two loans, and why it's very important if you're a real estate investor. If you're doing single family, home style 9 times out of 10 is going to take the cake. Okay. Reason being is it's 3% down. Generally has a lot less red tape. It's just a faster loan. Okay. Little faster loan, little more flexibility, higher loan limits, and better rates. It gives you slightly better rate. Okay. That being said, with the home style, it allows you to buy up to 4 units, but they really jump up the down payment amount for every unit. So on a home style conventional, if you want to buy a duplex, you have to kick in 10% down. Okay. If you want to buy 3 or 4 units, you got to kick in 25% down. What's awesome about the FHA is the FHA is 3.5% across the board, right? The other stipulation is home style requires, like all conventional, really requires a good debt to income ratio, a good credit score. Generally, they look for like 700 plus, whereas freaking FHA guidelines are 580, which is like, I mean, you got to really fuck up your credit to get to 580. No offense to anyone that did that, but like that being said, it's very, very, what's the word? Forgiving, right? It's very forgiving. It allows you to get in high debt to income ratio, super low down payment, low credit score. You could still buy a house. Does that answer your question, Avery? Awesome. Yeah. Home styles are great. I'm literally in and there's another one. There's like choice renovation. What the reality is, Avery, is like, if you have a really good renovation lender under your, if they're a 203K lender, they're also a home style lender. They've done them all. These guys and gals, this is their niche. So if they're a good lender, based on your situation, they're going to give you the best loan product for your deal, for your situation. And that's why it's so important to get a loan officer that really knows what the hell they're doing.
Gotcha.
I got a quick question for you. Since you guys are bringing up the home style and the choice renovation, are those live-in?
Great question. So I'm glad you included that. So home style has a program where no, you do not need to occupy it. And you could still do a renovation loan where you wrap the renovation costs into the loan and only pay the down payment on the total loan amount. The caveat with that is it's only limited to single family, and it is a 10% down payment. Now, it is way better than hard money because you are only putting 10% down at the total cost amount, not even loan to value. And you're getting like low conventional interest rate. You're getting like 4% or like 3.5%. Hard money's the best. Hard money is giving you like 8 or 9, right? So it's still massively great. But if you're looking, like, you can't buy a multifamily with it. There's another weird, stupid caveat to this. You can't call it an investment property. Just don't call it an an investment property. You could just say it's a second home. That's it. Vacation home. You don't have to really tell them anything. Just don't say the word investment property. It's a stupid stipulation because the reality is like they know, and you're allowed to do it like up to 10 times apparently with Homestyle. It's like crazy. Now, listen, guys, again, the caveat to these loans and these financing and conventional financing is if you guys are wholesaling a deal and you're in a position where, your seller needs to close super fast or they can't close up by a certain date or you need to close on a certain date, blah, blah, blah. Either your timing has to be super good or you need to really communicate it with your lender and just really get clear on when you can close because financing takes time, right? It has to get underwritten. Homestyle is still going to take 2 months. So that's the difference between if you use private money or hard money, and you could just pick it up next day. You still have the same thing. You still have to go through like appraisal, all that shit. So, but great question. And I hope that answers your question. Awesome. Yep. All right, guys. Any other questions?
Go ahead, Robert. Go ahead and unmute, brother.
Robbie, you're on mute again if you had
no. I was just giving you thumbs up.
Oh, thumbs up. Cool,
Thank
cool.
you.
I'm not gonna be late, but I heard conventional, so I was like, oh wait, is it, I wanted to ask that question.
Yeah, Homestyle choice renovation. I think there's another one out there. I forget what it's called.
That's like you said, it's only for single family.
Yeah, the big ones are.
Guys,
Yep.
And guys, reach out, dude.
Awesome.
Matt is constantly. The content is just on another level. You guys see it here. You know what I mean? Exposes it all. Really leaves no stone unturned, man. Since day one that I've been actually consuming, Matt's content. Also has a book out there as well that I also purchased as well. I don't know if you've written anything else lately, but
no, I'm in the works of like rewriting it, honestly.
Cool.
Because there's been some stuff that changed since then. But yeah, you could get it if anyone's interested. 203ksecrets.com. It's actually 203k. I know. Sometimes people get confused with that. People say 203k, but it's actually a 0.
And then you also had said you got some big news, bro. Is it yet that? Are we gonna get exposed to some big news yet? Or
yeah. So guys, if you're in my Facebook group, you'll see that. So honestly, one of the big things with me was like part of me had imposter syndrome, right? So I started doing this. I started teaching people. And I'll be God honest with you. I never thought I was going to teach people this. I never thought I was going to be a mentor or, I definitely don't call me a fucking guru, but like, I never expected myself to be in a position where I started teaching and educating people. I just really wasn't ready for it. But it called me because people were literally asking me and like begging me to teach them. And like, people were asking me, do you have a course? Do you have a mentorship? Do you have all these things? And I formed it, right? And I started doing it. And honestly, part of me was like, I'm not good. Guys, I don't own multiple doors. I don't own a ton of doors. I got 3 doors. I got a handful of flips under my belt like that. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I'm like a genius real estate investor. I'm far from it. I'm learning just like everybody else, right? But there's one thing that I freaking really know well, and that's 203k loans, not only because myself doing it, but helping friends, helping family doing it, seeing the process over and over and over again. So I felt guilty being willing to take money from people. People didn't give me the option. Again, this is full disclosure. It's up. I'm not saying anybody needs to. Kevin can attest to it. There's nothing that I teach that isn't already out there. Some people just like having their hand held and making sure that you're looking over your shoulder. Sure. So what ended up happening was I was teaching people how to do it. And people were just knocking it out of the park, man. I don't want to toot my own horn, but I was finally seeing people closing deals, even through the pandemic, like left and right. I have another friend closing up, a member in my community closing a triplex, another one closing a quadplex tomorrow. Like they're doing deals. And for a while I was really, again, felt guilty, felt like I didn't deserve to teach people or didn't deserve to ask money for people. And what ended up happening was I saw the success left and right. So Kevin, to answer your question, in my Facebook group, I'm making a big transition to really sending a lot more value to people. And up until this point, I've kind of kept the group of people that I teach and bring on board very small. I'm opening that up a little bit, and I've built the resources and the abilities to take on more people and teach more people this strategy and hold more people's hands. So tomorrow I'm going to talk about how that works and what we're looking for people that do work with me one-on-one. And yeah, again, no pressure. There's all like, there's a ton of content in there. But I was kind of testing my own ability to teach people, and it's working very well. And I'm super thankful for it. I'll tell you right now, like, I enjoy this way more than flipping my own damn houses. Like, I honestly, I'd rather just watch people like literally kickstart their real estate careers, change their families' lives, change their lives. Like that shit, I found my calling, you know what I mean? And it's, I still invest. I still look for deals. I'm still looking for my property now. And I'm doing wholesale deals, stuff like that. But nothing gets me as juiced up as getting a text message from a student that's like, I just closed on my duplex. I just closed on my quad. I mean, that's
awesome.
The best
and that's something that we're able to tap into as well with our community. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Constantly finding people, just finding deals and closing up deals. I think Paula just recently closed up a HUD property as well. She's
amazing.
One, right? You know what I mean? And a lot of people doing their thing. And
yeah,
that's one thing about, we talked about it earlier. It's your network. It's definitely your net worth,
Yeah.
But without action as well, if we're going to sit back and analyze everything, then your network's going to be useless as well.
And that was the thing, guys. I literally failed. I didn't fail. I just learned every way that didn't work for me. But the main reason I didn't get a deal done in 4 years is because I never took action. I never just made that phone call. I delayed 6 to 8 months of just not making the phone call to the lender. It just, I still to this day, guys, like, I don't think if the lender was someone I didn't trust, I probably wouldn't even be sitting here today. Like it was really just like a random moment in time where I took enough action just to like get myself and get the ball rolling, like I said. And the crazy thing about it again was like, I was in it and the train was rolling. And I think the best thing about it was like, if it was a wholesale deal, I would have like researched every step of the process. Like, what do I say to the seller if the seller says this? What do I do with this contract? What do I put this verbiage in the contract? 203K, I didn't know shit about shit. Right. So I just went into it like, I don't know what to do, but I'm just going to look at what's in front of me. And I actually learned that that's how I learn better. So learn by doing, guys, especially if you're analysis paralysis. I'm an engineer by trade, right? Like I overanalyze literally everything. That's my job.
And Matt, dude, you are such a perfect example, bro, of literally finding your niche.
Yeah.
And just building something around it. And then literally proving it, right? Like with the students and with whoever else is in this community as well. Like,
for sure, man.
Tack on to a niche and just run with it, right? Once it's rolling.
Yeah. And again, and I think that's the thing, man. Like, I'm not, again, I hate that word guru. I fell for a lot of gurus. Again, like I don't, the difference is I don't sugarcoat anything. Like I don't tell people that this is easy. I don't tell people that this is, I just tell people it works and that it's worth it. That's it. I don't, if you're, when I talk to people, when I bring people on board, when I work with them one-on-one, I'm like, if you're not going to take action on this shit and you're just going to waste my time, I don't want to waste my time either. I don't want to tap in with you every day. And if like, you're not placing offers, you're not looking for contractors, you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing, I don't want to deal with you either, because like, I'm not here to take anybody's money. I don't want to take anybody's money. I'm looking to get people that want to put in the work. And whatever it is that you guys do, it doesn't have to be a 203K wholesale, anything, just like learn by doing. Because again, I probably could have gotten 4 years back if I just picked up the damn phone and asked the lender about a 203K loan. You know what I mean?
Real quick, Matt, you got a last question. This is going to be the last one.
Yeah, sure.
Donald got on late, he says, and he was like, what is the intent timeline?
The intent timeline. What do you mean?
Yeah, I'm not sure, Donald. If you can elaborate, you want to maybe in the chat.
Yeah, I mean, like again, timelines, kind of like Elizabeth asked, like timelines for the deal, intent to live in the property. That's Paul, if that was the question. Yes. So, so guys, and I'll tell you this, and I'm not going to tell you this. Like, here's the reality, guys. Here's the number one thing everybody asks. I'm friends with all the top 203K lenders in the country at this point because they love what the hell I'm doing, and I'm making their lives a whole lot easier. And the biggest thing they get is people trying to skirt the occupancy rule. Everybody's trying to get in and try. Listen, guys, it's mortgage fraud. Okay. If you tell them you're going to live there and you're blatantly not going to live there and you were super blatant about it and you got all that, like, number one, the underwriter's not going to give it to you if they see you got like 10 other properties and you're going to buy a quadplex in the middle of some, like, you know, C-class neighborhood and you're living in, you know, Bel Air. You know what I mean? Like, but if you don't have really any properties, they're not going to question. Even if you have one property, like I have people that like have one and they say they're going to rent it out. They're moving. Like FHA guidelines are like, if you go far enough away, there's some stuff, some implication there. But like I have an example of one guy in an unfortunate event kind of turned into a great event. And it's like just a thing where like the intention is 12 months, but the reality is that if you have a good enough reason to not sell within that 12 months. But here's the thing, you don't want to sell. Like the way I teach is like teach for buy and hold. Like every property I buy is good to flip, but if it cash flows, that's the most important thing to me. Like all my flips, always the exit strategy, the plan B is that if I can't sell it fast enough, I'll just default to a rental and rent it out until the market recovers or something like that. So always analyze every deal you do on cash flow and if it could pay for itself when it's done. But one of these guys that's in my group, he did a 203K, just had finished it like right in kind of the middle of the pandemic. He worked for Boeing. He got laid off in the middle of the pandemic. And he was like, oh my God, I don't know what to do. He's like, I can't sell them within 12 months. I'm like, you could totally fucking sell. I was like, just contact the lender. Sure enough, he told him, he's like, I just lost my job. They're like, yeah, you could sell. We're not going to go. I mean, you're going to sell. We're going to get paid off. You understand, but it's a life event. It's
almost done, buddy.
You know? So it's a life event.
Well, you guys are going to go to Mama's soon too.
And he went and bought a quadplex, actually just this week. So, you know, he used a 203K loan again. He turned a really rough situation into a good situation. But again, don't rush the process, guys. Like you only need to do it once. And like, don't think about getting out of there ASAP. Like think about what it's going to do for you long-term, you know? So hopefully that's helpful.
With the HUD bid, to do owner occupied, it's 1 year and you only have to live in the property 50% of the time. So if you're staying with your significant other or, 6 months in, you're done and you've got one unit rented out and the other unit, you're kind of not living there. That's fine. They just don't want you to see selling it within the year.
It matters. Like if you show your other places, like if you show where else you're living, like, right. Like for me, it was like, I moved in with my parents at the time. I was just getting engaged. So like what ended up happening, honestly, guys, was like, I didn't really move in fully because I was out and about. I was working. Why am I going to go live there when I was getting free meals at my parents' house at the time? You know, I was right around the corner from my parents' house. I was always at my wife's house or now wife's house. So, you know, it was like, I didn't really go fully move in. At the end of the day, they want to see that you pay your mortgage, but there's people out there that blatantly like do this and they just never move in and they do it from day one, and underwriters will catch you on it and you will get in trouble for it. So be careful. Don't look at this loan as a way to repeat it or game the system. You go into it with the intention of living there at least for the year. Whether you move in or not is not really up to them as long as you pay that mortgage, but the intent needs to be there. And just know that and try to absolutely play by the rules as best you can.
Matt, killed it. Thank you so much.
Yeah, really, man, love it, brother. Thanks for inviting me on. And again, you know, if anybody has any questions or wants to learn more, you know, my Facebook group is really the best place to go. And my Instagram at the 203K way. That's really where all my shit's going. And then I'm working on YouTube. YouTube's a scary, big behemoth. I have YouTube videos up there. They are, if I do say so myself, really good and comprehensive. YouTube's just a lot of work. So I'm trying to make it more of a thing this year. But yeah, at the 203K way on all the different platforms. Yep. But Instagram is where I put like all my gold and the Facebook group. So
yeah, Facebook group is definitely somewhere where you can literally network with others. Dude, I found that very, very valuable, you know, and it's all over the country too, which is so cool. Right. You know, definitely.
For sure.
Matt, thanks brother. Yeah, man, we're going to start getting some calls going, hitting some lists. And that's cool. Our goals.
I'll definitely listen into a little bit. I have another call coming up.
Yeah, no worries,
I'm
man.
Interested in hearing
it's no big deal, man. Yeah. So, if anyone is looking to do that, right, you guys, we all know the drill. If anyone's looking to, you know, actually jump in, maybe take their lists. Any questions before we start, doing that as well? Anything that's stopping you from getting a list? Anything that's stopping you from beginning to market, regardless of what it is or whichever way, right? There's plenty of ways. I know we all know them, right? It's either driving for dollars, right? Your mailers, your texts, your door knocking, however else you guys would think about doing it. And if there's something that's, kind of stopping you, let us know. And if any of you guys want to call today, that's cool too. I might take a break. Not too bad. Liz, how you doing?
I'm doing good, Kevin. How are you?
I'm doing all right. I got the I'm babysitting today, as you guys can tell. I got these little guys running around, running amok. But I'm here. We're here. And Matt was huge help as well today. And it's always great getting people on here. It's always great having you guys too as well. You kidding me? Without you guys, this stuff wouldn't even be I wouldn't be on here. So I appreciate all you guys. And
it sounds like Matt dabbled in a lot of different ways to get the leads. And so I just want to throw out, I have a new array. Obviously, we want to answer any of your questions, how to get to know your market a little bit better, which places are the best places. So we do share some of those tips, tricks, and best practices like throughout the call. But I don't know everybody and where everybody else is starting off. So if this is too easy for you, then feel free to let us know and ask some more questions. But one of the statements that I do on my cold calls is I basically go for 3 no's before I let it go. Obviously, that counterpoint, if they're like no and hang up, I don't have any control over that. But if they're going to let me have that conversation, the last piece is to essentially put an offer or throw it out there for a bird dog referral. And if you're not familiar with that term, it's essentially paying for any incoming inbound leads. So what I've done is I've built out a Google Drive. I'm going to share my screen real quick. Let's see, so this is kind of the back end, but you can set up something like this for yourself too. If you have a Google account, you can create like a little form. So basically I put instructions this is what you would want to do for kind of a driving for dollars app. I've got a few people that I'm working with in certain markets, so I put their names in there, but I'll share the link. I'll put it in the chat. If you want to add anything to this, it'll automatically get to me and put it in a spreadsheet, and then I can take that lead from there. But it's basic. It's a street number and name, a zip code, and then any other kind of notes that you want to put in there. So, mail's overflowing, junk in the yard, looks like a hoarder house, vacant, whatever. You can also put in images, so from your camera, and then that comes to me. So if you're not familiar with Google products, that's probably just something you should do a quick Google search on, but Google's free. Getting a Gmail is free, and so you can use that for yourself, but I'll let you test mine out, so I'll drop the link again.
That's awesome. That's great. Hey, Matt, real quick, we're asking, is you still the ebook? Oh, you already did that. Perfect.
Yeah. So it's $2 ebook, guys, and
right.
there's an option in there too. If there's a deal analyzer tool, you could upgrade to that. That's $27, and it talks about how I analyze deals specifically for 203K loans. But that's at 203ksecrets.com.
Good stuff. So Liz, I think you might have to be taking the realms on the phones today.
You want me to do calls? Okay.
Yeah, if you don't mind.
No.
And then I got to catch you on next week. Hopefully, you know what I mean. I can get some calls in with you and in front of the crew.
Okay.
But again, you guys, this platform is ultimately for all of us, right? So, it's a good way to kind of work on your script, right? Get you kind of take the bugs out. I don't think they'll ever be bug free. I'm sure there's a lot of situations where a seller's going to kind of maybe catch you, off your toes, and you might stumble a little bit, but there's really no growth in comfort, right? So getting it out there, and again, that helps too with the comfort thing, where it's like you're in front of a whole group. This kind of helps me, like it suits my personality. I think the more people that are kind of on the call, it gives me more, insight to do better on my calls, or even make more calls, you
You are
know.
now
So
connected to the predictive dialer.
All right, so where are we going to call? Florida, California, Massachusetts? Any favorites? No preferences? All right, we'll hop into Florida. Florida is multifamilies. It's Tampa and Orlando. And these are all going to be new. If you're not familiar with an auto dialer, I use Call Tools. For my auto dialer, I have 3 phone numbers, and I've built out a series of sequences. And so I didn't start this way. I've been using this for about a year. Hello?
Hello?
Oh, hey, this is Liz. How's it going?
I'm not sure who Liz is.
Oh,
Who are you trying
sorry.
to get a hold of?
Yeah, sorry. It sounds like you're busy too. I realize it's the evening hours. Should I check back later?
I'm not sure who this is. Who are you trying to talk to?
Well, like I said, my name is Liz. I'm an investor, and mostly I'm looking to connect with owners. Have you thought about selling your property in Florida?
No, thanks.
Okay. Are you landlords yourself, investors? Are you looking for more?
No, thanks so much.
Okay. Do you know anybody who would benefit? Okay. So she did say no like 2 or 3 times. What I try and do is qualify the conversation with that first initial call. And the way I put it in my sequencing, so it's obviously a woman's phone number, but the owner's name is a man. So I'll just make those notes. Yeah, check back just to see if she knows anybody in her sphere, neighbors, friends, family that would benefit from selling. Those are the 3 points that I try and get across in that first conversation. Mostly I'm just trying to qualify, is this the right contact, and is this person going to have another conversation with me in the future? So what this will do on the back end, basically the auto dialer is teeing up live calls to me, just as you heard, it called in. I've got a little bit of a script here. And sometimes on that first initial call, sometimes the conversations will go really well, and I can send an email directly through this CRM. And so I've got a couple that are typed out, and then I just send them off with that owner's permission. But what this does is in a sequence, because I put it not interested, it's going to wait a lot longer before it puts that phone number back in the queue to check back. So unless a property is sold, or unless I get a very hard take me off your list, we'll just check back a little bit further down the road. Can also send, if it's an SMS enabled phone number, I can send a chat or send a text through the chat there. So now we just wait for the next call. Sometimes what you can do is if you throttle it and you want to work on social media posts, you can do a couple of different things with this. You can see I've got a lot of phone numbers. So my goal is to try and get through that list as quickly as I can and recycle it. So then the touches or the number of outreaches, will get there. The other thing that I'm trying to do is pull public lists for other distressed signs. Hello?
Edward Jones Investments. Can't take your call now.
It's not a number I really want to leave a message for, so. Put it on a DNC. But what I can do is recycle this list, and then anything that I've taken, anybody that I've taken off the list, they won't, get called. But the people that will have conversations with me later on will get in the queue. Anything that comes up that's a hot lead, I just put them in a different CRM system so I can call them, on my own time, outside of random, not random, but I don't know who's going to pop up as a live call.
I'm sorry, but the person you called has a voice mailbox that has not been set up yet. Goodbye.
Okay. So if that was a voicemail, oops, I don't want to do that. No answer. It'll automate also text or SMS follow-ups too. So even though I'm putting the disposition as no answer, it's going to go through a sequence of 6 different SMS messages. And then we can keep adding to those different touches. Hello?
Hello?
Oh, hi, this is Liz. How's it going?
All right.
Hey, I was hoping you can help me out. Did I catch you at a bad time? It sounds like I interrupted you.
What you calling for?
Like I said, my name is Liz and I'm an investor. I'm looking for my next investment property in Florida and just wanted to see if you thought about selling. No, didn't think about it. All right. On to the next.
Hello.
Oh, hi, this is Liz. How's it going?
Sorry, where are you calling from?
Yeah, my name is Liz and I'm an investor and mostly I'm calling to connect with owners. I'm looking for my next investment property in Florida. So I'm looking to connect with landlords, property managers, other industry professionals.
What do you need? What is the reason of calling?
Well, like I said, I'm mostly calling to introduce myself. If you're a landlord, have you thought about selling?
I have no idea, man. Actually, the store is closed now.
Okay.
So I have no idea now. Okay?
Okay, I'll check back later.
Thank you.
Maybe it's the wrong number. Store's closed. I think the big thing for me to, hello?
Hello, friends or family. Can't get to the phone? Leave a message. I'll call you back. Thanks.
Hi, this is Liz with Metro Units, metrounits.com. We're investors and we're looking for our next investment property in Florida. Looking to connect with other investors and landlords. If you're open to offers, call or text 857-600-2370. Thanks. So on that one, I could tell he was out of state because I kept the owners and property information in there. So I don't know. It's definitely not an owner occupied. I guess for me, because these are all the first phone calls, mostly trying to find, separate out, right? Find those people who are willing to have that conversation. Hello?
Please leave your message for.
And then see how best I can, help them if they're landlords. Hi, this is Liz with Metro Units, METROUNITS.com. We're investors and we're looking for our next investment property in Florida. If you're open to offers, call or text 857-600-2370. Thanks. I could have done a little bit better on cleaning up my list before I put in here to, do some homework, but I think for right now, just getting going is better than having it perfect. Because the other part of the conversation I want to be able to have is see if they're open to networking or being added to a buyer's list, but I don't start there. That's just one of the avenues the conversation can take me. Sometimes I'll find, newer investors not really sure how to get started or, how to overcome certain challenges with, self-managed properties. So inviting them to meetups, face-to-face meetups, other investing calls is also a good way. Good way to help them out, build that rapport.
The customer you are attempting to call has not activated their voicemail box. You will not be able to leave a message at this time. Thank you. Goodbye.
Okay. Good question. So Donald asked a question. First time on call, what type of lists are people using?
Hello?
Oh, hey, this is Liz. How's it going?
Hey, how are you?
Good, good. I'm hoping you can help me out. Did I catch you at a bad time?
Okay.
Okay. Well, like I said, my name is Liz and I'm an investor. Mostly I'm just reaching out. Have you thought about selling your property in Florida?
Yes.
Not yet. Is that what you said? Did I hear you right?
Yes.
Okay, no worries. Well, like I said, I'm an investor. We can work within your timing. Or if you know anybody who would benefit from selling, I'm happy to have those types of conversations too. Oh, not very talkative tonight. But I'm going to put here that he is a landlord. So I can skip trace what this LLC is and try and get some more information after this call. I'm going to put the other thing I like about this auto dialer is it will record the video or the videos. It'll record the audio so I can go back and listen to anything too and get some more notes later on. So there was a question here, first time call. Okay, so my list are multifamilies, certain areas like the California, the area that I'm calling on those are mostly single family. So it kind of just depends on the area and where my network is. I think everybody working their own list kind of has their own secret sauce on how they pull it. One of the things I was trying to do with these lists after the fact is to also stack for other points of motivation. So recently I have been pulling code violation lists for the areas that I've already pulled some lists in. So I'm going to try and see where those other pain points or other indicators for a possibility of a quick close. So yeah, this list right here that I'm on right now is Florida. It's multifamily, so 2 units to, I think the highest unit count on this list is like 80. And it's strictly the Orlando area and Tampa area. And the skip tracing company I use is IDI. I can drop the link in there for you. IDI data. I've got my link tree here. Oh, hello?
Hello, we're not available now. Please leave your name and phone number after the beep. We will return your call.
Hey, this is Liz with Metro Units, METROUNITS.com. We're investors and we're looking for our next investment property in Florida. If you're open to offers, call or text 857-600-2370. Thanks. So on my outbound calls, I'm using Florida toll-free numbers, but then I leave them my basically my direct number for deals. Which is a Massachusetts phone number. That's why I say we're looking for deals in Florida. Okay, so let me go back. Link tree, skip tracing. So this is the company I use. I'll just copy and paste that in there. Skip tracing. Okay. If you have more questions on that, I can answer them outside of this. Okay, we'll save that. Yeah, so this list, you know, 2 different areas. I haven't gone through the whole thing once, but once I can recycle it, that's where you're going to, you know, get better conversations over time. And I've had, you know, you never know. I mean, I was working a Massachusetts list. One of the first phone conversations I had that ended up being a wholesale deal, but the buyer was, or the seller was already, you know, ready to sell. Hello? Please leave a message after the tone. Hey, this is Liz with Metro Units, METROUNITS.com. We're investors and we're looking for our next investment property in Florida. If you're open to offers, call or text 857-600-2370. Thanks. So I'm leaving live voicemail messages because recently, you know, laws have changed, and so we're just following all that, those guidelines. But it still helps you automate. Okay. So the way I set this campaign up, basically I do the live call and I can either talk, you know, they'll be there and I can talk to them, or hello?
Hello.
Oh, hi, this is Liz. How's it going?
Who's this?
My name is Liz, and mostly the reason for the call is I'm calling to introduce myself. I'm an investor, and I'm looking to network with other investors and landlords. And I was actually
I'm sorry.
expecting Joseph.
I'm sorry, I'm not interested.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. I said thank you.
Okay, are you an investor yourself? Yeah, okay, try back later. So I don't get rid of it completely because that wasn't the owner. I mean, the owner's name, they could be related. They could be, it could be a total wrong number, but I'll try again later. Okay, Liz, do you have property managers to assist you in other states? That's a good question, Devin. So I used to live in California. I do have what I call boots on the ground there. So I do have a network of other investors that I work with that would go on the appointments for me. So that's kind of how I do that, either other investors or other agents to help me. Vincent's asking, how do you determine the value of the property without looking at it? That's a great question. The next time the menu comes up, I'll show you, but on a call, I'm never trying to give out a number or have that conversation, so I don't necessarily need to do the homework up front. Obviously, if you can qualify the person on the other line as the owner, you always want to have a conversation with the direct owner. And then I always just say I do my homework later because it depends on what the current quality is. And I usually say, I think we can both agree, right? I've never been in your house. I don't know what that condition is. So if you can get them to give you some details on the property, you might be able to do an offer over the phone, but that's not my ultimate goal. My ultimate goal is to qualify for motivation.
You have reached a voice mailbox.
Hey, this is Liz with Metro Units, METROUNITS.com. We're investors and we're looking for our next investment property in Florida. If you're open to offers, call or text 857-600-2370. Thanks. So I'm not looking to put in a first offer or anything like that, but I'll show you right here. So this is probably a condo, but this is an owner property or the owner's mailing address, and that this is the site or the target property that I would want to make an offer on. At least it came up in my list. So if I go to hit the Zillow button, it'll pull up the first property. Okay, so this is the owner's property. Man, that's nice. They just sold. But we'll go back. This is and this is in Palm Harbor. So it does pull Zillow up. If I was on a call, I could probably do this fast enough. Yeah, here we go. Probably condos. So, oh, they recently sold. I should probably take it off the list. So you can see Zillow has it in here. I don't want condos anyway, so I'll take it off the list. But so I wouldn't necessarily determine the value on the phone, but I can pull up Zillow, get a ballpark, and rule of thumb for wholesaling, whatever Zillow says, you want to take at least 50% or 60% off of that number. And that's kind of a good starting point. But you always want to run real comps, and you're not going to do that, in 30 seconds on the phone. And I could, sometimes I keep these notes for myself. It's a spreadsheet. I can download this information. So I can put why I did that.
Liz, do you ever get callbacks from your voicemails?
It's a good question. Sometimes what I do see is if I'm in the auto dialer, it'll tee up a call, an inbound call, like they missed a call. And so they just called back without listening to a message. And it'll show up live there, or there's a way to, on here to capture like voicemail. I can, the system, I can log in and listen to voicemails that are done. The ultimate goal is to get that, but I would say right now, since nobody knows who Metro Units is, it's a very cold process, and this is a high equity list. It is kind of like a needle in a haystack with this. Mm-hmm. And that's why what I'm trying to do, I am going back into these cities, Orlando. I can search, based on these and look for those other pain points like code violations, tall mm-hmm. grass, vacancy, things like that. And look for, which properties match up from both lists, high equity and not being taken care of. Then that's really, the owners that you're going to want to reach out to different ways. Calling, right. Texting, sending mailers and things like that.
Yeah. So I've been doing some, I haven't been door knocking anything, just because when I'm driving by and I'm seeing properties, I'm usually on my way somewhere.
Yeah.
I haven't actually taken the time out to like drive for dollars.
Yeah.
But I definitely want to get back into that, just because I was picking up a lot of properties that way.
So
just as far as like,
yeah, let's just look at this. You're in Orlando, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So do you know off the top of your head what a median price range for a property in Orlando would be?
The median price range right now for Orlando for a single family home is like $275,000.
Okay. So if we like just even capped it off, oops, I did that wrong. To oh, it won't do it. I get rid of some of them.
But that's just for a single family home. That's not multifamily.
No, that's okay. I mean, this is Zillow, so I'm just saying if I mean, or I'm doing a big list, right? And because I'm on these calls and I'm used to working territories, but as a new investor, as a new wholesaler, you're gonna want to just get to know a certain area. And so if you use these filters a little bit better, maybe, oh no, it's all. Just go in there and see, like here's 290, see some areas, and you want to just focus in on a block or a certain area and just get to know that area. Then it'll be easier for you to do a lot of the follow up. You see my call list, they have thousands of numbers. That's just because I am looking in multiple areas, and I committed to pulling and skip tracing those numbers. You're not going to want to start off that way. You want to start off with max of 250 on your list. So you want to like zoom in on a specific neighborhood and get to know that area really well. So it'll be easier for you to do the comps and have those conversations with the sellers. You're going to get to know that you should get to know what the building department is there, and you're going to know that because you're interviewing your end buyers, your rehabbers, your landlords, and they're going to give you that information. So you just have to kind of ask for it.
So like a farm area ultimately.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Because then there's other ways to find those buyers too. I mean, networking is one of them, but I just basically take a look at the recent sold and kind of look at those LLCs and look at those what's been flipped, because not only are they your comps, but they're also your buyers.
Right.
So
okay. Yeah, that's like I want to say initially when I started, I just pulled whatever the list was. I didn't have like a farm area, but that's what I've been hearing, like hone down in an area and like really get to know that area, find out who's buying the most in that area, and just get all the information that you can. So
yeah. So I am, learning along with everybody. The deals that I've found, I've stayed in them. I've wholesaled some. So I've done a little bit of everything. I did a condo conversion. I've been a landlord for like 10 years and wholesaled. So, I mean, you pick up different things, the more experience you get, but I would say the best way is to learn from everybody else, right? So pick one area and then do those investor interviews, see what they're looking for, and just ask those right questions. Because, hopefully they've had experience and learned too. So this script is again to kind of keep me on track, but I think when it comes down to it, people on the other end are going to be open and receptive to a conversation, and they can tell when you're not genuine. So I just easy breezy, hey, no worries, hey, I'm just an investor, hey, I just thought, so being really relaxed about the process, and again, kind of calling out to the situation. Yeah, I realize it's evening hours. That are you eating dinner? Or did I catch you driving? So trying to call, that normal stuff out and just kind of relating to them as a person. Okay, so we'll save that. No, I don't want to put on this in DNC. It already sold. Yeah, so this system, in the back end, on the office back end part, I set up a series of sequences, so it'll do certain things based on the call disposition. So if there's no answer, it's going to still call back within 3 days. Hello?
Hello.
Oh.
Please leave a message after the tone, and I'll call you back as soon as I can. Thank you.
Hey, John, this is Liz. I'm an investor, and mostly I'm looking to connect and network with other investors and landlords in Florida. Just wanted to see if you thought about selling your property there. If you're open to offers, or if you know someone who is, love to have a conversation. My cell is 857-600-2370. Thanks. Now, I left a little bit of a different voicemail on that because I confirmed this is a good number. So I used his name, John, because he said it. And I did two things because it sounded like he was, also a business phone number. So I wanted to leave the option of, hey, he can sell to me, or maybe we can also do a deal or network. So that's why I did that. So now, because I left this voicemail message, excuse me, this phone number, sorry. All right, there, sorry about that. Okay, so with this voicemail message, I left it with what I was saying with the call tools auto dialer. So it will do a series of sequence based on what these dispositions are. So it will put this phone number back in the queue to do another call back. And the way I've set it is it won't call back on this number any sooner than 3 business days. So it'll give them time to either call me back or continue the process of following up. Also, if this phone number, which it didn't sound like the voicemail was for a voicemail or a cell phone or something like that, but if it's an SMS enabled phone number, it'll also send them a text message too, even though I also left a voicemail. So definitely they'll see that, there's some outreach here. And if he calls back, great. If not, he's still in my system to check back with eventually in the future. So, I got a lot of phone numbers to go through. In one sitting, usually go through between 200 and I think the max on this I've ever had in one sitting.
Hello?
Oh, hi, this is Liz. How's it going?
Good. Who are you?
Hi. Yeah, like I said, my name is Liz. I wouldn't necessarily expect you to know who I am. Mostly I'm calling to introduce myself. I'm an investor, and I'm looking to network with other investors and landlords in Florida. Have you thought about selling your property?
Not really. It's not for sale.
Okay.
Yeah.
No worries. Yeah, like I said, I'm an investor. So if you're not selling, are you looking to add to your portfolio?
Not right now.
Okay.
But eventually, yes.
Oh, that's great. That's great to hear. Do you do any networking events like meetups or RIAs?
Not right now, really. But thank you for the call.
Okay. Thank you. Have a good day. All
right. Bye.
Bye. All right. So I think she's a good. I'm going to put her on needs analysis. I'll check into her. So we'll still reach out. Okay. So I will be, when I move to Florida, I'll be hosting a meetup of my own in Orlando with Avery. Actually, she's on the call too. So that's part of, part of this networking, part of my conversations that I'm having. It's easier to present yourself as, hello?
Hey,
Oh, hey, this is Liz. How's it going?
good.
Yeah, I'm hoping you can help me out. Like I said, I'm Liz and I'm an investor. And the reason for the phone calls, I'm looking to connect with other investors, landlords. I'm looking for my next investment property in Florida. Have you thought about selling?
I haven't. Wait, who is this? How'd you get my number?
That's okay. Like I said, I'm an investor and I use a couple of different services. So if you're not interested in selling, like I said, that's totally fine. I do want to network with other investors. Do you go to RIAs or investor meetups?
No. I'm just curious as to how you got my number.
Okay, like I said, I use a service, a third-party service, and it's based on the property information, but because some of it's public record, it's easy for me to connect and get that contact information.
I see. All right. Nah, that was my only question.
Yeah, no, that's okay.
All right, I'll see you.
Do you know anybody who would benefit from selling a property? Nope. All right, so that's usually the next thing I do is try and get the information out for a bird dog fee. So if they're not looking to sell, if they don't know anybody to sell, I just say, hey, I'm an investor. Doesn't need to be today or right away if they don't hang up on me. And then I just say, I set aside $1,000 in my marketing budget. So if you're able to connect me with that owner, they sell, I buy as an investment, I just pay you $1,000 for that. And sometimes that'll stop them in their tracks and they're like, oh, okay. When you show them that what's in it for me, sometimes they'll ask for certain things and, we can go on from there. I'm going to put him as not interested, but check back. Because he was like, I've never been cold called before. Oh, I'll have to give you permission. Okay, I don't know if I can do that, two things at once. Yeah, I'll put my email in the chat. You can connect after the call. Okay, so yeah, I mean, I'm trying again to set myself that I know what I'm talking about, and so part of it is building the rapport and how much can you. Hello.
Hello.
Oh, hey, this is Liz. How's it going?
Liz who?
Yeah, I'm an investor, Liz. I'm with metrounits.com. We're looking for our next investment property. We're also looking to connect with landlords, investors, other industry professionals. We're looking for our next investment property in Florida.
Okay, well, I'm 16, so I can't really help you with that. Thank you.
Sorry about that. Do you know, no, must be the wrong number. I'll put him on GNC. Okay, but I mean, whoever that owner is, I got to figure that, do some more skip tracing. I don't want to leave that property. It's showing it's 5 units. Oh, it's probably a condo anyway. All right, I probably don't want that. I'll check it out later.
You're doing a great job, Liz. My calls were going practically the same way.
I saved some of the good ones. I'll throw them in the Facebook group. But yeah, it's hit and miss. You just got to keep going with the next one, and when they pay off, they really pay off.
Yeah.
Hello. Hello. Anybody there? Hello. going on with that one? Yeah, like I said, the ones that are there, I mean, yeah, they're great. You know, I help landlords retire. I'm very proud of that.
Mm-hmm. Heck yeah. Heck yeah.
And that's the thing is, you know, the people who need me the most need me to reach out to them.
Mm-hmm.
So I just have to, you know, keep doing that searching. No answer.
I 1,000% agree. We're definitely useful. And at the end of the day, this is all going in a cycle. And it's a numbers game.
Yeah. But yeah, exactly. You can, you know, be a little bit smart with your time and resources. And that's why I'm trying to, it's called stacking the list, right? When you pull other lists based on code violations or anything like that. Now this is a high equity absentee owner list. I don't know if I'm going to find a lot, but it could be one of those, you know, slum landlords where they're not taking, and then that benefits the tenants too, right? When you can turn that property around, you know, that's great. So it's a great service for the local community, and when you can find that win-win-win, it's, you know, it's really good. And those are the kind of deals we do. Hello?
Please leave your message for.
All right. I'll see you guys later.
Hey, this is Liz with Metro Units, METROUNITS.com. We're investors and we're looking for our next investment property in Florida. If you're open to offers, call or text 857-600-2370. Thanks. All right. So. So the idea is, you know, you learn how to do this, you get a virtual assistant, they can make some of the calls for you and you manage them. And then that's how you get some deal flow going. Hello? Hello? Oh, hey, this is Liz with Metro Units, METROUNITS.com. We're investors and we're looking for our next investment property in Florida. If you're open to offers, call or text 857-600-2370. Thanks. Now, I don't know if that's a real phone number, but this looks like when they're LLCs, it looks like it's a good lead. So often it's $1 million over that. So I'm just going to put So if you guys don't know how to skip trace LLCs, that might be a good next lesson. You can see sometimes they come up with, like, Open Corporates is a good one. They have a couple of different versions of these. So this is LNS Holdings. Where is it? In existent but not in good standing. Okay, that's good, I guess. I'm going to leave this link, but you can do more research, like I said, on a call or after. And that's kind of what I want to save this information. Once I'm done with all my calls, I can download this information in a spreadsheet and then sort it by all the hot ones, and then kind of do more evaluations to get good phone numbers or get good contact names too. Yeah, it's coded as a business. Okay, Devin asks, what do you think is the most resourceful way to get leads? Cold calls, drive around, bandit signs, etc. Okay, so really depends on your skill set, but I would say the first marketing channel I started with was mailers. I would not start there. So you're driving around, I think, is a good option, right? Driving for dollars. Bandit signs can get expensive, and depending on your local codes, you may or may not be vulnerable to fines. So I would say instead of bandit signs, do those referral fee bird dogs. So talk to friends, neighbors, people at the grocery store standing in line. That's why a lot of people will get shirts, I buy houses. So it's your walking billboard. You can also get decals for your cars, like magnets, kind of does the same thing. So as you're, riding around town, you ultimately have that ad going out there. But I would say if you're starting out, cold calling, driving for dollars, and those word of mouth kind of advertisements will go a far way, because people do business with people that they know, like, and trust. So how do you build that? How do you build that reputation? How do you get that word out there? So good question. Hello?
Hello.
Oh, hi, this is Liz. How's it going?
Hello.
Can you hear me? Oh, I don't know. She couldn't hear me. It's okay. We'll try back later. Yeah, so Devin, if you're like working your local market, just go on to Zillow, see what the median, hello?
Please leave your message for 813-842-2149.
Hey, this is Liz with Metro Units, METROUNITS.com. We're investors and we're looking for our next investment property in Florida. If you're open to offers, call or text 857-600-2370. Thanks. Yeah, just look for that sweet price point, and usually, depending on your market, usually it's 100,000, 120,000 to 300,000 for an ARV. And network with the rehabbers, network with the landlords. It's really you're a connector in that wholesaling hat. And if you need to educate yourself on how to have those different conversations, there are a lot of Zoom meetups through Gualter's group. If you haven't been to one of those, Saturday is the Wealth Principles, so I can drop the link for that too. Free Zoom call Saturday from 10 to 11 a.m. Eastern. So let's see. GualterAmarelo.com, and then click on the events. So these are all the different Zoom calls throughout the week. So we'll just drop that in the chat. Yeah, the Wednesday calls, they basically do, hello?
Hello?
Oh, hi, this is Liz. How are you doing?
I'm good. Who's this?
Yeah, that's okay. Like I said, my name is Liz. I'm an investor, and mostly I'm looking.
Sorry.
Yeah, mostly I'm looking.
No, I'm I'm not selling anything, okay?
Oh, I'm looking to connect and network with other investors. Okay, she's not selling. Oops.
You are now connected to the predictive dialer.
Oh, there's another question in the chat. Basically, do you pay for the property wholly or in parts, or is there any other techniques? So typically for a wholesale type of contract or deal, it's being purchased at a discount, but typically it's a cash offer or it's hard money, which is considered a cash offer. So the end buyer who you're assigning the contract to would take over any of the contract that you negotiated. So typically it's 100%, but there are some other strategies where
Sorry, the person we're trying to reach has a voice up yet. Please try your call again later. Goodbye.
But there is creative financing. So that's another whole deep dive into that type of transaction. So yeah, but you would still need to figure out what those details are, negotiate that, and then your end buyer would need to be able to perform on that. So you need to know how to do that and which buyers would ultimately, perform and do that. So. I think I kind of answered this. How do you determine the value of the property without looking at it? I don't give.
I reached the House of Health, Orlando DOT Physical, and list Orlando.
It's not the number I wanted. Business. So you would basically pull comps kind of after the conversation or do a ballpark with the Zillow. And I get that through that dashboard there. So if you're doing calls on a cell phone or somewhere else, you can always have a web page up and type in the address as you come to the calls. But I don't do research before I get on there. I just ask questions in a certain way to, number one, build that trust, and then just ask them and ask and verify after the fact. You can write in your offers. You can write in certain contingencies, and then make adjustments based on whatever turns up. Anyone recommend any free open source dialers? That's a good question. I don't know. Might want to call around. I just know of Call Tools and Mojo dialers are popular, but I'm sure there's others out there. Oh, hi, this is Liz. How's it going?
Pretty good. How you doing?
Good. Hey, I realize it's the evening hours. Did I catch at a bad time? Are you eating dinner?
No.
Okay. Well, like I said, my name is Liz, and the reason for the phone call is I'm looking to network with other investors and landlords. Honestly, I'm looking for my next investment property in Florida. So I mostly wanted to reach out and see if you thought about selling.
Look, I'm not selling anything, okay?
Sure, no worries.
I'm tired of people calling trying to buy stuff.
Okay. What are you looking to buy? All right. Well, we can have that conversation. I'm going to call him back.
Initiate click to call as you requested. Once again, press 1 on your telephone keypad to initiate the click to call.
Hello?
Oh, hi. I think we got disconnected. You said you were looking to buy?
No, I said don't call me no more.
Oh, I apologize. I thought you said you're not selling and you were looking to add to your portfolio.
Oh.
You are now connected to the predictive dialer.
It's not interested.
You are now connected to the predictive dialer. Leave your message for 347-432-1981.
Hey, this is Liz with Metro Units, METROUNITS.com. We're investors and we're looking for our next investment property in Florida. If you're open to offers, call or text 857-600-2370. Thanks.
Hello, what are you selling?
Hey, this is Liz. Mostly I'm looking to connect a network, but if you want me to sell something.
I'm sorry. Who is this and what can I do for you?
Sure. My name is Liz and I'm an investor. I am, like I said, looking to connect and network with other investors, landlords, other industry professionals. I'm looking to build out my portfolio in Florida.
Do you want to buy houses?
Yes, sir. Not just houses. I do want to buy apartments.
And property?
Yeah,
Okay, got it.
land.
Yeah. Now, first of all, I'm a renter. I don't own anything.
Okay. No worries. It
Have a
doesn't.
good day.
I said no. I said okay, no worries. What I do is I set aside $1,000 in my marketing budget. So if you don't have any property to sell, that's okay by me because I'm not necessarily looking to buy from you directly. But if you know someone who would benefit from selling, friends, family, neighbors, if they end up selling, and you connect me, right? They sell, I buy, I would pay $1,000 for that. And
okay, houses I don't know are somewhere around 300,000. All right.
Yeah, that's fine. What I like to say is
so do that 250. You'll probably be able to buy cash somewhere around 245. All right.
So
yeah, no problem. What I'll do is, I'll keep you in mind on, I'll write this down, no problem.
Yeah.
But I need 20. I'd need 1%.
1%. Okay. Well,
Uh-huh.
Are you a broker or you said you're a renter?
I'm a hustler. What do you want?
You want to partner on some deals? Is that what you're saying?
No, I bird dog for you. Pay me 1%. Of the gross that you buy it for.
They need to be, they need to be bigger deals than that then. So we could have a conversation. I don't mind.
I mean, bigger deals than that. At 1%, bigger deals than that. It's going to cost you too.
Okay.
Hey, I'm the one bird dogging for you. I'm the one putting.
Sure.
Yeah. If I had a real estate license, I'd be doing exactly what you're doing. I get it. I can respect it too. No problem. I get your number written down.
Okay.
All right. But I want 1% up to 1 million, and anything over 1 million, I need 2%.
Okay, so 1%.
Up to 1 million. Anything over 1 million, I need 2%.
Okay. Sounds good. Sounds like you're doing a lot of the work.
I will be doing a lot of the work.
Okay.
I'm going to be doing the introduction. Without the introduction, it goes nowhere. So don't screw it up. when I bring you a lead, they're solid. I don't want to waste your time.
Oh no, that sounds great. Okay.
Have a good day.
All right. Take care.
Bye.
He's a good negotiator. Okay. Okay.
Your call has been forwarded to an automatic voice message system. 813-435-0237 is not available. At the tone, please record your message. When you have finished recording, you may hang up or press 1 for more options.
Hey, this is Liz with Metro Units, METROUNITS.com. We're investors and we're looking for our next investment property in Florida. If you're open to offers, call or text 857-600-2370. Thanks. It's in the chat. Yeah, thanks for checking us out.
Please leave your message for
Randy.
Hi, Randy. This is Liz with Metro Units, METROUNITS.com. We're investors and we're looking for our next investment property in Florida. If you're open to offers, call or text 857-600-2370. Thanks. Yeah, before the end of the hello?
Please leave your message for
Before the end of the evening, you can download the Zoom chat for the networking. Hey, this is Liz with Metro Units, METROUNITS.com. We're investors and we're looking for our next investment property in Florida. If you're open to offers, call or text 857-600-2370. Thanks.
reached our general voicemail box. Please leave us a message and we will return your call on the next business day.
Sounds like a business. All right.
Hello.
Oh, hi.
Hello.
This is Liz. How's it going?
Liz.
How are you? Good. Well, like I said, my name is Liz, and the reason for the phone call is I'm an investor. I'm looking to expand my network in Florida. I'm looking to connect with other landlords, other investors, other industry professionals, and just wanted to see if you've thought about selling your property there.
You know, I've gotten many calls, Liz, but I'm not interested.
Okay. Are you looking to add to your portfolio there?
Not necessarily, no.
Okay. Do you do any kind of investment RIAs or networking groups?
Well, frankly, you caught me at a bad time. I'm having dinner with my wife right now.
Oh, I apologize. Okay.
No need to apologize. I understand your interest, but I guess my overall answer is no. I'm not interested in doing anything else in Florida.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay. Thanks.
All right, Liz. Thanks for the call.
All right. Take care.
Good luck.
Thanks. Not interested. Well, he said Florida. Maybe check back and see what other areas he's adding. Okay.
Hello. Please leave a message after the tone.
Hey, this is Liz with Metro Units, METROUNITS.com. We're investors and we're looking for our next investment property in Florida. If you're open to offers, call or text 857-600-2370. Thanks.
Your call has been forwarded to message system 407-562-8285 is not available. At the tone, please record your message. When you have finished recording, you may hang up. 1 for more options.
Hey, this is Liz with Metro Units, METROUNITS.com. We're investors and we're looking for our next investment property in Florida. If you're open to offers or know someone who is, call or text 857-600-2370. Thanks.
You have reached Mike Grant with Central Florida Realty. I'm unable to take your call at this time, so please leave a message and I'll call you just as soon as possible. Thanks.
At the tone, please record your message. When you have finished recording, you may hang up or press 1 for more options.
Hi, Mike. My name is Liz, and I'm an investor. I'm looking for my next investment property in Florida, so reaching out to connect with other industry professionals, agents such as yourself. So if you're open, if you'd like to network or have a chat, my cell is 857-600-2370. Thanks. So my difference in my dispositions, I think I have one for agents, buyer's list agent. Yeah. So the messaging on the autoresponders for this one is going to be geared towards real estate agents. So it won't say, I want to buy your house. It'll say, something like, I'm looking for my next investment property, that kind of a thing. So that's the main difference in how I do that. So that was nice that the voicemail did that qualification for me. So I'm going to save. I'm going to stop here. We got about 5 minutes left before they need to finish up here and then go on the next one. Oh.
Hello, this is Dr. Newsom. Thank you for choosing Newsom I.
No, I don't want that anyway. DNC. Okay. Didn't click out of there fast enough. Okay. So let's just take a recap to the end of the evening. See the call stats. So just in that short hour and a half time, I made 171 outbound calls. 48 of them were kind of answered live. And then most of those were answered instead of abandoned. So those are really good numbers. So I'm happy. Didn't have any super productive calls, but it's all good practice. Liz, how did you start your first deal list? So I pay for a CRM service. It's outside of this auto dialer. People use different ones. I just happen to get a service called RealFlow. And that's how I'm able to pull based on, zip codes or area regions, and based on other qualifiers, like, the property's been held by the owner by X amount of years. So I can see the estimated equity within that property. And the fact that they're absentee owners, that property site address is different than the owner's address of record. So so I use that CRM, pull my list, and I didn't start there, but that's how I'm operating today. I was working pre-foreclosure lists. So in Massachusetts, they stopped the judicial process with COVID. I think they're starting it back up, or it's started back up, but a year of no mailers, I had to do a COVID pivot basically. So that's not even how I got my first deal though. So you just have to put the feelers out there. The first deal I actually did was basically a driving for dollars. I was looking at an MLS listing, didn't like it. And then I saw the for sale by owner sign, and kind of the rest is history from there. So I would say starting out, just focus on one type of list, get to know it really well, one neighborhood, kind of deep dive it. But in the meantime, have conversations with neighbors, with friends, and like I said, you want to discover that motivation point. So we're wrapping up. Use the chat for networking. So you can save the chat, download it. You can look back over it, outreach, to me, to Dorina, to Kevin. If you have any other questions, always you're welcome back to join the Facebook page and come back. We do this every Monday night, and we'll look forward to helping you get that first deal. All right, cheers.